Hey everybody, welcome to the Tom Bilyeu Show. We are live. We are all here together on this Friday. We're going to have a good time. Thank you guys for being here. It's always interesting to see what is going to happen. These 3 hours can be quite the journey. So I'm honored that you guys are here with us today, and we are going to be talking about Zuck, who says that AI has started to self-improve, and I cannot tell you enough. If that really is true, that is the one that becomes wildly unhinged. If it can start making the kind of progress overnight, start making the kind of progress overnight that you get the fast takeoff. So that's going to be interesting to talk about. Altman, though, has his own release. He's got a new AI agent, but it comes with a stern warning about the risks. He seems pretty paranoid about the way that people can use it and about the way that it can be itself tricked. So that's going to be interesting. A very important trifecta of crypto bills gets passed. Thankfully, we are not going to have a CBDC anytime soon, which is good, and I'll be very interested to get your guys' take on CBDCs. Pam Bondi is going to unseal the Epstein grand jury docs in court today. We'll see about that. Drew is not a believer. He thinks it is going to be a puff of dust when they unseal those files. All right, Trump vows he's going to sue Rupert Murdoch into oblivion for printing a potentially fake Epstein letter. This just won't die. Trump can't stop talking about this damn thing. So we'll see, man. This one's getting wild. I'm starting to think, like, have we hit black ice? Is this where this just spins out of control and really becomes a problem? We will see. Britain, speaking of creating problems, Britain lowered the voting age to 16. That's going to be one. I'll be very curious to get your take. Drew and I were arguing about this before we even started. So this will be interesting. And then China banned OnlyFans. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right, welcome everybody. Let's get right into it. Jeff is saying the grand jury files aren't the Epstein files. Smoke and mirrors.
I'm with you, Jeff. Completely agree, but let's jump right into that. All right, the speculation happens. This circus is not going away. This is a tweet directly from Attorney General Pamela Bondi. President Trump, we are ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. Trump tweeted, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury. Pertinent is the key word. Pertinent is the key word. Like glows and blinks whenever I see it. Yeah.
Just
like they released the raw footage. Don't fall for this smoke and mirrors, guys.
We just need like 6 weeks, Drew, to get you the raw footage.
This scam perpetuated by the Democrats should end right now.
Shouldn't it, though?
Amen. He's getting a lot of blowback, though. MAGA's not letting it go.
No. This honestly, man, I'll be interested to see how far this goes. Black ice really feels like the right thing. If you've ever been driving in the winter and you hit a patch of ice and suddenly you can just feel how fast you're actually moving, you can feel that the sense of control that you have had is a complete illusion. Like, you are now going to go where momentum takes you, and there is so much momentum behind this. I don't know, man. It just seems impossible to me, and I will just repeat until the end of time so I can avoid any lawsuits. I don't have any information that isn't public, but man, does it seem impossible that this isn't at a minimum inconvenient for the Trump administration. So it seems pretty self-evident to me that between the little men in black suits that roll up to you when you get into office and are like, let me tell you how things really work, between that, if he really was an intelligence asset, bro, like, and the money thing, Eric Weinstein has been banging the drum forever. Follow the money. People are asking all the wrong questions about Jeffrey Epstein. Follow the money. He transferred 2 days before he suicided himself. He created a trust and put hundreds of millions of dollars into it, and those hundreds of millions of dollars are still moving to this day. So
here's Senator Ron Wyden talking about that on the House floor.
Last year, the Biden administration allowed our investigators to look at portions of the file. We did that at the Treasury building. Here is what it says. Treasury's Epstein file details, Mr. President, 4,725 wire transfers. Let me repeat that. 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Mr. Epstein's bank accounts.
I mean, here's the great news. There is a concept called forensic accounting. You can go figure out what all of that stuff is.
You can follow the money.
So, yeah, I think Eric is right. People need to follow the money, figure out what was really going on. But the way that I think that this is going to play out is something like, we live in a violent world where you can manipulate people, where blackmail works, where sex is one of the easiest ways to get something over on people, that there really are, cabals makes it sound too fancy. There's just groups of people that are like, hey, you want access to my money, I can get you access to my money. I want to make sure that we have mutually assured destruction so that I've got things on you, that I can get you to do what I want. That people have just learned that money, secrecy, sexual deviancy, like they're a cluster of tools that can be used to move people in the direction that you want to move them, whether it's they want access to the continued stream of sexual deviancy, whether they want access to the money, whether they want to feel like they're part of the in crowd, whether you have something against them and they know that it can be used against them, whether they want to be invited to the secret parties, like all of these things come together and people get, this is just how the human psyche works and we understand how to leverage these tools. And this is that thing where it's like, oh, in the age of cameras everywhere, social media, high velocity, high volume of information, it just can't stay hidden anymore. And so we're living in that generation that is going to see this have to become something new. I don't know what the new way is that people are going to hide from this because I just can't fathom this is all going to go away. It's too effective. But it will take a different form. But we're in the transitionary moment where this is all going to blow up and it's going to be super weird. Like when you think about what brought down Richard Nixon, it's pretty basic bitch shit. It was like he authorized a break-in on trying to get the files from the other team. Like, would anybody be surprised by that now? Like, that seems so like, meh. Not that it wasn't worthy of the reaction that it got, just that kind of thing. I don't know. It feels like that would be a scandal that would come and go. But this one is our version of like that sort of, this could be the thing that really implodes the administration. So I'll be interested to see how far this goes. But people are not liking what they see as we peel back the curtain.
Yeah, to that point, the Magnificent said, this might actually break the MAGA cult. The diehards in my family are already shook.
Yeah, like this is, if you've been like beating the drum like Trump is my boy, and now all of a sudden you feel like you are out in the wind. Trump is saying that you're an idiot or you're stupid. I forget the exact words he used, but they were not complimentary. I don't know if he said, I don't want your support, but like that was the vibe. People that have like gotten in fights with their family over this guy. And then he's like, what do you mean? There's nothing to see here. You guys are dumb. You're falling for it. Like that's.
So here's the thing, right? There was like two sects of people. They were the, I'm cool. I used to be a liberal, but they're crazy. So now I'm voting for Trump. Like those people all left. Those are the flagrants. Those are the Dave Smith crowd, the people that are on the internet. But what's shocked me, I pull up this General Mike Flynn tweet, who is a Republican. He is MAGA. And even in the beginning of this tweet, we're not going to read this whole thing, but even how he positions it, Donald Trump, I'm hesitated to write this. However, with the utmost respect and deference to you for all you've withstood, few know it better than me, what the deep state can do, what they can turn on a person. The Epstein affair is not about who killed him or if he committed suicide. Personally, I'm glad this known pedophile is dead, but neither is this a hoax. This issue goes beyond all that. And then he goes on to talk about how millions of people need this and how this is so important to him. So I'm also starting to see not just the internet podcasters, not just the middle independent swing voters, but people who were MAGA, people who bought the red hats, people who are in these swing states, who are in these flyover states, who are now saying, wait a second, you're starting to look like the swamp. Like this isn't clear. Like they're even starting to get turned on. So
yeah, not to overplay this card, but growing up in the 80s, I really felt when I was just young, so keep that in mind, but I felt like America wasn't corrupt. So many other places in the world were corrupt. That corruption kept them from the greatness that America had achieved. And I think a lot of people had that vision of America until populism started to rise, probably around 2012, 2013, something like that. And people started to be like, wait a second, hold on. Like there's corruption here in America as well. And then Donald Trump, as bombastic and bizarre as he is, was seen as a person like, yo, he's really just saying it how it is. And so I've always loved that Dave Chappelle line where it was like, the moment that Trump said, you guys aren't going to change the tax policy, I know it's corrupt because I use it, and so do all of your donor friends, and they're going to keep using it, and that's how I know this is never going to change. You were like, yo, he's really saying all the true stuff. So this is like, yeah, like this is our guy on the inside, not only saying the quiet part out loud, but just like dragging the truth of how all this works into the light and saying, you're not crazy. You felt like there's corruption. There is corruption. It's blatant corruption. It looks exactly like this. This is how all these guys are using it. Put me in office. I'm going to get rid of all this bullshit. And it was this beacon of hope of like, wait, maybe America really can get back to being this uncorrupted thing. Now, it was probably never that, but that felt so good to think that, wait a second, we're the shining beacon on a hill. We are the ones that are not corrupted. There was a movie called The Untouchables. Oh man, this movie was so awesome. It was about people that face down everything. It was like that Elon Musk speech, but in theoretical real life, about this, oh God, what was he? FBI? I think it was an FBI agent named Ness, the guy that brings down Al Capone. Mm-hmm. And it was like, back then they would threaten you, try to kill you, kill your family, bribe you, and just everybody caved. And this one guy had a group of what was known as the Untouchables, and they couldn't be corrupted. And I remember watching that movie and just being like, yo, this is why I'm proud to be an American. And so you had like that vibe permeating culture. Then we developed the sense that we're corrupt too. Then like people see Trump as the guy that's going to stop that, break that chain of events. And this is going, no. Whatever that thing is behind the scenes, it got him too. That's what it feels like. And that's why, like, bro, you're not going to be able to escape this. Like, you've got to drag this out into the light. You've got to let people see what it is. And the problem is, it might really just break everything. And so that's where it's like, yo, like, but I don't see a way around it.
Yeah, I think this is going to get blown over. I think he's just going to keep piecemealing us through. Just like the JFK files. We were so excited about that. He dropped 3,000 files that nobody read, and then we came back like,
okay, so let's say that happens, because I buy that. I get how easily people will fatigue and eventually it will just blow over, but there will be consequences to that. And so what do you see as the consequence? Is it that MAGA loses steam? And so now people are just like, well, the very thing that got me hyped about this guy just isn't true.
Yes, but I do think that there's going to be something else that swings the other way. Just for example, we passed all these crypto bills. When people's portfolios start going up and we start rounding around midterms, that's going to have a lot more implications than this theoretical file that's going to expose all these people.
So people are like, corruption is not so bad as long as I'm getting rich.
Unfortunately.
We're going to have
money solves a lot of problems in America.
It does, there's no doubt. But right now we're in a position where we're only making a very few number of people rich. And if you don't start bringing up that bottom, they're going to elect Mamdani. Then things are going to go even worse, but they're not going to blame him. They're going to continue to blame the corrupt elite as they see it.
But the Mamdani voters aren't getting turned by these Epstein files. They were going to vote for him whether these files are released or not.
Yeah, but if you have the people that are the coalition across all economic strata making the MAGA base, giving that like credence and giving him the runway to like, hey, I'm here to like make things better. So, the idea being that he gave them an ideology that straddled, that went across multiple financial strata.
Yeah, I get
not the most elegant way to say it, but you're with me.
Yeah.
And so because of that, you stop the rioting, the overtaking from a class war. If MAGA loses that, now it's like, well, what's my group? Your group then is far more likely to become class war. So when I look at this, and admittedly, I'm thinking about this in real time, but as I look at this, I'm like, okay, everybody knows my opinion about you can't have this kind of inequality without getting a violent problem. You had sort of this layer of like Trump giving people a bit of hope that maybe this wasn't a class war problem. If that breaks down, I can see how this now then people click over and we're back into the financial camps of like, yeah, fuck these guys. This is corruption top to bottom anyway. Trump really is what people said he was. Like, you're getting a lot of that. Like, I thought Trump was something different, but nope, he's not. He's just another one. And then they're going to have to fill in the what, another one what? and it's going to become another corrupt either politician or another corrupt rich guy.
Yep.
And so now it's like, okay, this really is just either people will go, it's the establishment versus the populace, or they're going to go, it's the rich people versus the poor people. But it's now going to break into something different that doesn't have the umbrella effect that ties multiple groups of people together. And that's when I think the problems exacerbate.
We'll see. I am not moved by this. I think this is all just a distraction. I think there are way more things, but Trump has painted himself into his corner. He has taught the big game, and a lot of things are starting to crack. So if, again, the crypto bill is a win, the stock market is a win. So a lot of people who are active and involved in politics, we talked to Kevin O'Leary yesterday, and he was like, I'm a policy guy, policy.
Right.
So these policies are moving in favor of the people that are motivated to go vote. My problem is like, yes, this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but the voter turnout is always lower for midterms. It's not a young people time to vote. The Democrats are still splintered into 16 different factions, so they're not organized on their side either. So while this, yes, is an opportunity for somebody to be like, hey, let me swoop in, no Republican is going to challenge him on this except Thomas Massie on his island by himself. Elon Musk went into a corner with his vindication. Like,
doesn't seem like it's working.
Yeah, there's all these like pockets of people, but if somebody organized on the other side, then yes, they definitely could leverage this moment. But right now, it just seems like Trump is going to have it until next year, then the year after that, and then that's when 2027, when it'll really come to pass. Like, did these tariffs fall? Did these crypto increase? Is our portfolio still up? Is the economy still moving? Has the housing prices changed?
You're so right, and it still makes me sick to my stomach. JWF, happy birthday, and thank you.
Oh, happy birthday.
Super pumped for you. 27, let's go. Let's go. If I could be back where you were at 27, oh my God. Okay, so Drew, here's why my stomach drops when you say that. I look at the stock market, it's making me richer. I look at crypto, it's making me richer. Like, this is crazy. This has been a run for me where I'm like, bro, I'm making money hand over fist right now.
Crazy cycles.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sad. And the reason I'm sad is I look at that as simply people are fleeing the dollar. People look at this and go, oh, I can't be in government debt. And I'm having a really hard time convincing people that the bond market is actually going to crack. And I am utterly convinced that that is because it just seems too impossible. But the reality is, if we don't grow at an insane rate, and Lord knows that I hope we do, but if we don't grow at an insane rate, the bond market is going to crack. Like in the next 10 years, the runaway debt is so crazy. Lynn Alden, shout out to her, that nothing is going to stop this train. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at the stock market and I look at crypto, it's just everybody coming to the same realization. Everybody with money coming to the same realization, more importantly. Everybody with money who understands the economy is like, I'm the fuck. And they're getting out of government debt, they're getting out of the dollar, and they're just flooding into hard assets. Yeah. Not hard assets, but inflation-protected assets. So they're going into the stock market, smart. They're going into crypto, smart. They're going into gold, smart. These are all smart moves. But when I hear that, I just see this racing apart of people that are getting wealthy. Like, I'm getting more wealthy right now, passively. I've been holding crypto for years. Mm-hmm. But because dumb fucking policy is being made, I'm getting richer. And it's like, I can scream into this microphone all I want. And I really do hope that some more people start going, oh, okay, wait, I can actually track how the economy works and I can make decisions based on how that economy works. But I fear that very, very, very few people will do it. Okay, period. Now.
New sentence.
Yes, I would like to do a PSA. This is a wild time. The most crazy things are going to be happening financially. Right now, you guys, you must come to your own understanding. Don't follow me because it's entirely possible that I'm wrong. But you must come to your own understanding about how the economy works and start making decisions. Whether I'm right or wrong does not change that this is a pivotal moment. Things are so in flux right now. There is a reason that without a change in fundamentals, the stock market is going up. Let me say that again. Without a change in fundamentals, there's All the innovation happening in AI is still unproven right now. You're in the 2000-ish era of the dot-com bubble. So make no mistake, this is not because, oh my God, there's all these huge wins. There's huge promise. People are betting on it. So without a change in fundamentals, the stock market is going up, up, up. Without a change in the fundamentals of Bitcoin, Bitcoin is going up, up, up. Obviously, without a change in fundamentals about gold, gold is going up, up, up. These are all signs of something. Now, I'll be very clear about what I think they are all signs of. But remember, the driving belief that I have is that I know I'm wrong about something, and I just don't know what parts I'm wrong about. So you guys, by all means, leverage me as a way to get closer to the truth. But just please do not assume that I'm blanket right. But look at what's happening right now and don't just stand still. Do not just stand still. If you've got a bunch of money sitting in your bank account, oof, it is a bad time to be in that position. So please think very carefully. This moment feels so important. And I feel like people are not forcing themselves to map cause and effect in their own mind to be able to articulate how they believe this all works in a way that gives them the ability to make a concrete decision. So one thing I teach entrepreneurs is data drives decisions. Data drives decisions. To look at data and not make a new choice based on that data just does not make any sense. And so you need to be looking at what's going on in the stock market. You need to be looking at what's going on with Bitcoin. You need to be looking at what's going on with gold and ask yourself, why is this happening? And if you understand why it's happening, make a decision, make a move. Because as of right now, we're pushing people into the upper class and we're pushing people down into the lower class. So don't overfocus on the fact that people are getting pushed down. You literally have to decide whether you want to be pushed up or you want to be pushed down. But people are being pushed in those two directions. This is not a moment where people can sit in the middle class. It doesn't exist right now. So which way are you going to get pushed? And it's going to come down to what you do with your money.
And that is a perfect segue to a video I seen. Yeah, let's give it up for Tom on that. That was an air horn. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, sir. This is a video I found online that perfectly describes how money actually works. It's like a bank example, and it kind of shows the ramifications of inflation and so much.
Now, this may come as a shock to you, but when you deposit your currency with the bank, you're not actually depositing it into an account to be safely held in trust for you. Instead, you're actually loaning the bank your currency, and within certain legal limits, they can do with it pretty much anything they please. This includes gambling in the stock market and loaning it out, at a profit, of course. Now this is where the machine of currency creation really gets cranking, because this is where something called fractional reserve lending comes into play. Fractional reserve lending is exactly what it says. The banks are allowed to reserve only a fraction of your deposit and loan the rest out. Although reserve ratios may vary, I'm going to use a 10% reserve ratio as our example.
Pause it for a second.
I want to say it dropped to like 0.
I want to be clear that he's using 10% as an example, but the legal limit is 0.
Yeah.
You legally, in the United States, you do not, somebody gives you $100, you do not have to keep a single dollar. Now, most banks will, they'll keep some, but legally, they don't have to. They only have to have 0. It's insane, but true.
If you deposit $100 in your account, the bank can legally take $90 of it and loan it out.
They can legally take 100.
The bank must hold $10 of your deposit in reserve just in case you want some of it. These reserves are called vault cash. But why does your bank account still say you have $100 if the bank has stolen $90 of it? Because the bank left IOUs it created called bank credit in its place. Now I know this sounds crazy, but here it is in black and white from the Fed. Commercial banks create checkbook money when they grant a loan simply by adding new deposit dollars in accounts on their books in exchange for a borrower's IOU. These are nothing but numbers that the banks type into their computers.
This reminds me of the Wolf of Wall Street.
Even though these bank credit IOU numbers are very different from base currency numbers because they only exist in computers, they are still currency. So now there is $190 in existence. Now the reason people take out loans from the banks is to buy something. They're going to buy a house or a car or something like that. So the borrower takes the $90 that the bank loaned to him from your account and he pays the seller of the item. But then the seller deposits that currency into his account, and his bank loans out 90% of that and leaves bank credit numbers in its place. So now there's $271 in existence. This process repeats and repeats until under a 10% reserve ratio, an initial deposit of just $100 can create up to $1,000 of bank credit, all backed by $100 of vault cash.
This goes back to your example of when you loan $1, there's more money out than there's more money due out based on the interest than what actually is money in circulation, how they just keep manipulating and manipulating.
And so quite literally, you'd never be able to pay it off unless you create more money. And then also, if you repay it all, money goes to nothing because it was all fake anyway. It's not like gold. The gold's always going to exist. It's just a question of who holds it. When all of this money goes back to the banks that created it out of thin air, then it goes back into thin air and the money doesn't exist. And so they'd have to recreate money. So it is a wild system. But listen, I'm really trying to remind myself this is a trade-off, and that if you had a hard money system, that you're making a different set of trade-offs. But it is when people don't understand how this works that they start making decisions that are very counter to their best interests. They vote for things that are not in their best interest. They put their money in places that's not in their best interest. And they find themselves just getting absolutely battered by inflation because they don't understand it. I remember it was not long ago that I thought inflation was a law of nature. I thought prices just went up over time. I never stopped to think about it. Just because prices do go up, I just didn't think about why they went up. They do go up. So once you start digging in and you start asking all those why questions, man, you get into a very distressing place.
Crazy. All right, let's talk about crypto for a second.
Let's go.
They just launched 3 bills that I think are like huge. The first one being the Clarity Act. This one is the most political jargon, I would say, but what that says in plain speech is that it allowed the regulatory customs framework, so custody framework. So what that means is banks have to separate crypto assets from real assets so you can hold them. So that
how dare you say that crypto is not a real asset?
It stops the Ponzi scheme and the Sam Bankman-Fried of it all, that everything goes into one pot. So when crypto holdings go down, they're using other assets to kind of pump it up and stuff like that. So that's the first thing. They basically separated the regulatory framework so banks can do it. The second thing was the Genius Act, which is stable coins. Bank of America and I think JP Morgan was the second one that already announced that they're going to launch their own version of a stable coin before the end of the year. And then last but not least is the Anti-CBDC Act, which I know you love this one, which officially bans the creation of a U.S. CBDC. So to me, this is officially allowing crypto to be not only recognized in the American financial institution, but it allows big bucket investors, the big banks, the Goldmans, the Bank of Americas, the Chases to now offer that as their holdings, just like they offer an ETF or a savings account or a CD. So to me, this is a big signal that crypto adoption is going to go up because it is now a part of the portfolio of services that any investor can now offer people.
Yep. We're now seeing in Australia that you can use your Bitcoin holdings as collateral to get a mortgage. So yeah, it is now being adopted deeply into the framework, and I'm not surprised that it's happening right now because if you understand money, you see what's going on with the debt. Look, I was radicalized by the Big Beautiful Bill, and I realized, oh wow, like I worried that neither party would stop printing money. I've been saying that since before the election. Both parties are going to print, but like, I admittedly did hold out a little hope when Doge was doing its thing that we were really going to get serious about balancing a budget. And then Trump put out the tweet that was like, hey, remember, you have to get reelected and don't get too crazy. I know you guys are fiscally conservative, just like me, but we got to get reelected. And I was like, yep, that is the physics of the situation. And people are going to vote for the people that promise free stuff. So everybody's just given up and we're all just printing money now. So that means you absolutely must get out of the dollar. Yeah. Now, I have a hard time convincing we just shout out to fucking Drew. Drew got us Kevin O'Leary. Well done, Drew. So we just did that interview and I can't even get him to believe it. And so I'm not telling people not to be optimistic. I'm telling them not to be optimistic about the bond market. So, and the funny thing is, watch the whole interview, because by the end, I think begrudgingly, he had to admit, actually, I have been acting as if you're correct, even though I don't like to say it. You'll want to see it in his own words. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I felt pretty vindicated by the end of the episode. I won't lie. So this is one of those things that if you blind yourself to what's really happening with the dollar, you're going to be in a bad place. And so the lawmakers are savvy. They know what's going on. And while I think that they really do have a great lengthen the runway strategy with crypto to use stable coins, to get people to back the stable coins 1-for-1 with U.S. government debt. It's very smart. You will dramatically increase the appetite that people have for the debt. That really shouldn't be understated in terms of how smart that is. But nonetheless, at the way that we're acting, I believe every dollar that you free up, they will just print more of. Like, there's just a tolerance that we have. Like, we already know that we'll tolerate $2 trillion a year in debt, in deficit spending. And so I don't think that number ever goes down. So if they find a way to shore that up, well, then they're just going to eat into it again. And Ricky, forgive me, Ricky, like, don't look this way or something. He has a very interesting username, Stop Lurking. He was saying, wait a second, based on that video, there's no way that inflation is just 2%. And this is something I've been trying to get people to understand. Inflation is first we eat up all of the deflationary effects of innovation plus 2%. So it is an unknown amount that the government gobbles up via money printing. And yeah, I can't ever get anybody on board with that, but it just is true. Like, it's just nakedly true. So I don't know how to help people.
Okay, so we have to like put some flags. I'm seeing a bunch of people talk and stuff like that. I know you're always a proponent of like, you know, what $10 you have, throw it in there. And of course,
there being the stock market.
In there into like some type of inflation beating asset. Yeah. Those inflation beating assets are stock market. And when we say stock market, we're saying index funds. So like S&P 500, the Russell, the NASDAQ. Nice
and broad.
Yeah. Not $10 into Apple. You can do that, but you're betting all
way
on one.
Higher risk.
When you can spread that leverage out over something else. There's also gold, and then there's Bitcoin and crypto, of course. Minecraft video said something interesting though. It said we live in an MLM. And there is something to that while yes, on the individual side, you can help yourself get off this train, but the grand scheme of things, money does kind of feel like a big MLM, like a big Ponzi scheme of like, the more people who believe that this thing is valuable, the more valuable this thing becomes. And that's why even with the adoption of stable coins, there's just going to be more people around the world who are going to buy into the US dollar, quote unquote, lie that will then kind of get caught up in the system. So if you're able to offset some of your revenue, you can be protected. But the fact that more people are adopting it should signal that this is, I don't know if we're necessarily going to go full bankrupt, but like you said, bond markets definitely. But I think
the only thing that's really going to quote unquote stop us from going bankrupt is there's no worthy alternative yet. I have a growing suspicion that Bitcoin becomes the alternative. And
that's going to be the global reserve.
Yeah. Drew, how could it not?
That's interesting.
How could it not?
That's interesting.
People are, listen, let me answer my own question. Here's how it could not. That stable coins, which are so much higher velocity than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is currently, although your Satoshi Nakamoto, who launched his recent Bit transfer, what's it called? BitChat. Yeah. He's trying to make it way easier. It's pretty brilliant, the thing that he built. I need to download this thing. And that, the fact that stablecoins are so much easier and faster to use, that it not forces, but it will soak up a lot of that debt. That is the only thing that is going to keep the dollar from surpassing Bitcoin, just because Bitcoin requires more people to understand it. But I think on a long enough timeline, Bitcoin has just shown that it is now psychologically real. So barring a failure to adapt to quantum encryption, I don't see what kills Bitcoin. So now I have a 21st century hard asset that everybody calls the life raft that more and more people will understand. Mm-hmm. So I think more and more people will go into it. The question is, there's going to be a weird tipping point where governments are, certainly the US government, is going to be tempted to put capital controls on it, to either seize it, block it, whatever. They will not want to lose the status as the reserve currency. The voting public has made it very clear that they're not prepared to stop deficit spending. And if enough wealth leaves the dollar, leaves US debt, and goes into Bitcoin, they will mechanistically lose the ability to export inflation. And right now they need to export inflation because it just spreads it across more and more people in the world. So I'll be interested to see. There's going to be a collision. And I think if people friendly to MAGA style policies stay in power for, let's say, another 8 years post-Trump, then you've got a chance, because you'll have raised a generation that just expect it to be this way. And so they'll have built the infrastructure of their lives around it. Then it would probably be pretty hard it would be hard for the government to stop it from continuing to be a force. But if Trump loses at the midterms, and you get somebody, Republican or Democrat, who's not friendly to MAGA style policies, then they could start unwinding that pretty immediately. And so then it would be, it was nice for a minute, but now it's gone. We'll see.
If there's only 21 million Bitcoin, what happens when they're all mined? Or does it just approach zero and so it never actually gets there? Because no.
They will all be mined. I'm not sure why people are worried about that. The only concern is that then nobody has a financial incentive to protect the network. So that's why people are pushing, like, you got to use this for something else. Otherwise, there's no incentive. But let me tell you right now, when you have trillions and trillions of dollars on that network, someone will find a way. Just like banks. How do you get a bank to secure its own network, right? It's like whether it's fees, whether it's loans, like there will be a way, because people like me are going to be like, yeah, will I pay some small amount to make sure that I have an inflatable currency? Yes, aggressively. So that I'm not super worried about. Again, the community will have to take action. There has to be some, and honestly, there might already be a solution. There's no way Satoshi didn't think about this. But it's my understanding that what Satoshi saw was, this is going to be used for transactions, and it's the transactions that will then kick off the capital that will protect it. And it certainly all makes sense with, and I am somewhat tongue in cheek, but if I'm right that what's his face is Satoshi Nakamoto. Why do I keep forgetting his name?
Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey. Thank you. If Jack Dorsey really is Satoshi Nakamoto, all of his movements make sense. So few people push as hard to make Bitcoin something that people use on a daily basis. Also, I heard that there's a law that either got passed or they're trying to pass.
I'm literally pulling this up
where you
now.
can do de minimis transactions on Bitcoin without being taxed. So
I was going a different direction. Sorry.
That would change things dramatically. All right, take me where you're going.
There were, and also there's a smaller denomination of Bitcoin called Satoshis, which are like the equivalent of like nickels, quarters, like dimes. So you don't just need one Bitcoin to Bitcoin. You can have like smaller denominations, and there's certain crypto specific asset places you can buy. Like, let me get 2 Satoshis or something like that, and it'll be like the equivalent, like $5 or something.
Yeah, my main thought was like, once there's no incentive to mine, but it makes total sense what you're going into.
Yeah. I am convinced that they will find a solution. A solution has to happen. Otherwise, yes, it won't continue to be upkept. But I mean, I forget, we're north of $1 trillion in value for sure. I'm not sure if we're...
Oh, shoot. This was just passed.
In fact, chat, if anybody can tell us, you don't think Jack is Satoshi? Oh, your name is hard to pronounce. Gail Des Montañez.
I got to move out of California. Wait a second.
Bro, let's go. Drew, are we off? Let's go.
No, this just passed. So AB 1052 says after 3 years of inactivity, they can claim...
Dude, this was like 6 weeks ago. We even talked about this. This is insane.
I thought it was like we were talking about it. We were figuring it out. It officially passed July 3rd. Like, that's crazy.
Yes. Dude, California is sinister. They think they own all your shit.
If I don't spend the money, why is it yours? Like,
bro,
that doesn't make sense.
Bro,
crazy. That's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, this might be a wrap.
This is why.
Might be right, because I'm approaching like 2 years with mine, so it's like, yes, I might need to. One of my accounts, it is 3 years. It's not that much in there, but still, I'll take all my crumbs.
Yes, every single crumb, Drew.
I got radicalized again. Dang, Callie. Sheesh.
John Nash is Satoshi. Say more, Niche. Give me some links in whatchamacallit, Discord.
Brutus is saying, read more than the headline.
Is it in all caps?
Maybe. Always.
Let's go, Brutus. He's consistent. You got to give Brutus that.
I'm here
consistency.
For it.
I'm like pushing him into the brand of all caps because I keep bringing it up.
Yeah, if it's not
poor
all
Brutus
caps,
can never get out of all caps at this point. You got to be consistent.
Brutus, we love you.
Are you
saying
barber?
Brutus, I would love your best argument for it.
Do what all
there's
the
something
cryptos
that's not
do?
in the headline that we're actually missing.
No, certainly I know ETH because we develop in ETH, but no.
I'm
not a big believer in most cryptos. The only two that I take seriously as store of wealth would be ETH and Bitcoin. And honestly, I think ETH is only interesting in as much as people are going to build on it. And so it will be a thing. But I won't think of it as a store of wealth. I think that's always going to be a bit more volatile.
It's a platform. It's an infrastructure. Corey Pro said, Tom, why is it called a stable coin? If it's backed by USD, won't its value be inflated away if USD are inflating?
Yes. So it's stable to the dollar. So however volatile the dollar is, it's going to move around. But I will say that's very comforting. So we had put a lot of money into stable coins, and I got a tremendous amount of comfort knowing that, okay, whatever happens to the dollar happens to that. So I know what that is. It's not like a traditional crypto where it could drop 90% in its value overnight. So stable coins are extremely useful in terms of being able to move them around anywhere that you want digitally, traveling at the speed of light, no transaction fees or, whatever de minimis transaction fee there is on the network. So yeah, stable coins very much have their place, but they are not where you would store your wealth because you're simply taking the dollar and putting it in a different form factor. And if you think of stable coins like that, this is a dollar, but in a different form factor where I don't have to use a SWIFT system. You'll get the idea, especially in a time where people are being unbanked. Having a monetary system that can't be fucked with, like what Jack Dorsey's doing with BitChat. I don't know why my brain just does not want to hold on to that.
Okay. There was some, I think we crossed the chasm with crypto. If anybody has any questions, now's the time to do it.
Whoa, Brutus actually dropped the all caps. That's hilarious. Brutus, I think you're replying to the California thing. He said original owners retain the right to, and it scrolled off, basically claim them. But my thing is, come on, man. Should I really have to go claim my stuff? It's like, it's there. Why'd you take it? That's wild. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, like there's just certain things that like you're getting in the way. Like,
so Brutus, give me instead of making me read everything, Brutus, just enlighten me. What advantage do I get? So if this doesn't give me an advantage, then I ask the question, who does it give the advantage to? And I have a feeling it's to the California government, not to me.
You just have to log in once every 3 years.
Don't make me do that. Fuck you. Like if I want to, I don't even understand. It's like, it's mine. So whether I log into my account or not, like that's none of their business.
So Brutus says the bill aims to modernize California's unclaimed property laws, treating dormant crypto assets similarly to traditional abandoned assets like inactive bank accounts.
Yeah, like it's theirs. That's lunacy.
Yeah,
Nope.
The promise
Hard
always
pass.
was that this was a separate, decentralized network that was not regulated, and now it's like, oh, it's just part of the system.
That's the thing. America quickly ate it up. Like, oh, y'all not taking all that money out here. Come here. What you doing? No. Come give me my wealth back. What? Y'all can't go nowhere. What? Centralized.
Yeah.
Don't
when
fall
California was like, hey, people that lived here in the last 10 years, we're still going to tax you. Get out. That's that's offensive. Nope.
I'll take it one step further though. Like I love these Genius Acts and I love all these other things, but it is 100% Bank of America, Goldman, all the financial, the fintech companies saying, hey, we're back. And the whole point of Bitcoin was to be DeFi. So I'm one of those like DeFi people. Like I love that it's now accessible to more people and more people hopefully can get on the asset train. But Separate them assets, if you know what I'm saying. Not tax advice. Allegedly. Nobody using this in court coming back. Like Drew said, I could use tax evasion.
I try not to say nothing. The DA might want to play in court. Said 50 Cent. Let's go. Do a deep dive on crypto. Probably not. Maybe. I mean, we'll see if people keep asking for it. The next one I'm thinking about doing, Drew, is who actually pays taxes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm on the team Arthur Hayes. He did a podcast recently, and he said if you look at it, 90% of Americans only pay $600 billion in taxes.
Damn.
90% of Americans, $600 billion. So, of course, the other 10%, disproportionate, all these other things, corporate tax and all those other things that get aggregated. But that's where he was like, if Trump was really smart about these tariffs and all these other things, that was the whole promise. If I can raise at least $1 trillion, I can say, okay, I raised this much in tariffs. Nobody, like these 90 Americans don't have to pay income tax anymore. He gets to win in midterms. Republicans are
if he can pull that off,
everybody votes for him. So that was supposed to be the 1, 2, 3.
Now I would rather he just start paying down the debt so that those poor people don't just continue to get eaten alive by inflation. But if he also did that, it certainly would cement him in power. That's for sure. If he could eliminate like tax on earnings, dude, he goes up on Mount Rushmore. Like people would be thrilled.
I think I would be like a fan at that point.
Who would be?
Like me. I think like a proper
no, bro.
fan of
if
Trump,
people are like, wait,
yes.
because of Trump, I don't have to pay tax?
Yeah.
Where's my camera?
Grab
Where's
him
my
in
camera?
the. I'm not gonna say it out
You
loud.
see how money got him? You see how money converted him just that quick?
Bro, money converts everybody.
You see that? And we're talking about the Epstein files.
Everybody.
Everyone talking about the Epstein files.
Dude,
Trump is gonna be like income tax.
He would find the like hole to bury them in personally. He'd be like, hold on. Wait, all I have to do is bury the Epstein file? I got you, fam. Say less. He comes in like fucking dirt on his hands and shoes and shit, and he's like, Epstein, what? What
Epstein
files?
There was an Epstein. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
If he can get rid of he can get rid of income tax, it's over. It's a wrap.
It's one policy.
Is a wrap.
One policy converted everybody. Okay, let's talk about AI because a lot of things are happening, and I don't think we quite get it. Like, to your point, I know you say this in like team meeting a lot of like, hey guys, you probably used AI like 3 months ago. Yeah, it's completely different. It's a whole new ecosystem. It's like using a cell phone as a Nokia, and then you come back 3 months later and everybody has like iPhone 17s. Like, it's a dramatic difference.
That fast as well.
It's super crazy. Okay, so Mark Zuckerberg started this tweet. He released a video talking about developing super intelligence and how it's now in sight.
The most exciting thing this year is that we're starting to see early glimpses of self-improvement with the models, which means that developing superintelligence is now in sight. And we just want to make sure that we really strengthen the effort as much as possible to go for it. Our mission with the lab is to deliver personal superintelligence to everyone in the world. So that way, we can put that power in every individual's hand. And I'm really excited about it. It's a different thing than what the other labs are doing. And my view is that this is going to be something that is the most important technology in our lives. It's going to underpin how we develop everything at the company, and it's going to affect society very widely. So we just want to make sure that we get the best folks to work on this, from entrepreneurs to researchers to engineers working on the data and infrastructure. And then, of course, we want to back it up with just an absolutely massive amount of compute, which we can support because we have a very strong business model that throws off a lot of capital. I mean, there's this big debate in the industry, which is like, all right, is superintelligence going to be possible in 2 to 3 years and 5 years and 7 years? And I don't think anyone fully knows the answer to that, but I just think that we should bet and act as if it's going to be ready in the next 2 to 3 years. I believe that there's a shot at that, and I think if that's what you believe, then you're going to invest hundreds of billions of dollars.
That's a big statement. That is a big statement.
And if anybody could say that, it's the guy who invested $100 billion in his
per
team.
person. Yeah, it's like, woo. That's very interesting. So here's the thing that I think people are not fully grokking about self-improving AI. Thank you. If it can self-improve, there becomes a question of how much improvement can it make in a single night. So the rate of improvement here is the thing that matters to be certain. But when its rate of intelligence becomes, let's say, twice that of a human, 5 times, 50 times, now all of a sudden, if it's 50 times smarter than a human, then in a single night, it gets 50 days worth, roughly, of knowledge learned, which means the next day it's 50 days ahead of the human. So even just that person, if it's like 50xing each time, you see how rapidly. Now, if you spin up 1 million of them that can think 50 times faster than a highly intelligent human, all of a sudden it's, what does the world look like if you have 1 million people that are as effective as Elon Musk? I don't need you to like him. I just need you to admit that he's the most effective entrepreneur the world has ever seen. And it's like, okay, well then what happens if you have 10 million of those? And that's where this gets insane. And then what happens if it's not 50 times? It's 1,000 times. It's 10,000 times smarter, right? There is a question to be asked about energy consumption. There's a question to be asked about whether there is an upper limit to the degree of intelligence that it's ever going to be able to achieve. But without knowing what those are, you start getting into just these absolutely wild scenarios of 20,000 years of advancement in a single night. Now, there's always going to be some slowdown from the perspective of material science and things like that. But in fact, pull up really fast, just to really double whammy people, the video of the robot changing its own battery. What I want people to understand, this is the stuff that's happening right now today. And don't just look at the robot, look at the background, the factory, okay? These factories are gonna be popping up everywhere, and they're not gonna be making cars, they're gonna be making more robots. And so this is a right now, this is actually happening, this is not fake, this robot can really do this. And so I want you to imagine 20,000 years of advancement in a single night, that is then deployed across a, let's say, 5 billion unit robot army that goes out and does whatever it is that you want it to do. And that's not a today thing, but if we're really talking about 3 years to AI general intelligence that can self-improve, and then you go, okay, well then what does the world look like in 10 years? It just gets so radically different. And when people begin to really start putting together that we're also having a revolution in material science, in biology, so that we're able to build novel proteins that fold into unique structures, that do unique biological processes, all of a sudden it's like, okay, wait a second, I don't only have to build with synthetics like robots, I can actually build at the level of biology. And so if I have something that is able to completely map the biological system of a human, now some of the things that seem impossible to solve become like motherboard issues. We know how to go in, and it is wildly complicated as a modern motherboard is in a computer, and they are complicated. I'm talking like you're moving individual atoms around. But we've been able to do that from a physical process standpoint, humans. So now what happens when you have this self-improving AI that's able to, one, replicate itself, so that now it's not one person like, oh, I have to go into the lab and do all this. It's one robot replicated 1 million times, or one AI replicated 1 million times, is the same as one person having 1 million days to do a thing. And so again, ask yourself, what could Elon Musk accomplish in 1 million days? Now imagine what Elon Musk can accomplish in 1 million days can be done in a single day with one AI replicated 1 million times, coordinating amongst itself. So they're all running unique tests and they're all feeding back data to each other. That's how this becomes this like just absolutely runaway rapid progress that we can't imagine. And then it can be deployed out to all the robots. And so it's, I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise, you go to sleep in one place and you wake up in another. It's very surreal. And it will be like that. You will go to sleep in one world and you will wake up in another. And I'm not saying everything is going to be different. It will take more time than that. But when you start thinking about, whoa, China with humans, not AI, was able to construct a high-rise building in like 30 days. Imagine you go to sleep and the high-rise building does not exist. and you wake up the next morning and the high-rise building exists because you have a swarm of bots and drones and everything that just coordinate on everything. They're all communicating with each other.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, and they all communicate with the supply chain and all of that. And so it's like, it works for, whatever, a month behind the scenes, coordinating all the pieces to make sure that they're going to show up. It knows traffic flows and all that. And then it's just everything shows up at exactly the right time, even if it has to be airdropped in, and they just whoop. And so I'm talking as a sci-fi writer right now. This is not something you're going to see in the next 5 years. But when you start looking out 10, 20 years, and if it's not in a day, let's say that you can erect a building instead of in, to build the house that I live in now, it took something like 5 or 6 years. So imagine instead it takes 6 months. Like the world just gets very different. Oh, housing prices are too high in your neighborhood? No problem. We can build buildings in 3-4 months. They've now got construction that they can do with 3D printing and cement, and they can build a building in 72 hours. And so it's like all of a sudden, a lot of these problems start going away. So yeah, I just want people to wrap their heads around the world that we are stepping into, figure out the things that they need to do to be prepared for that world, which one is show up here every Wednesday and Friday because we talk about this stuff. Be ready for it. Position yourself accordingly, know more about it than the next person, be at the bleeding edge, use this stuff, find out where the actual limitations are. Because it's fun to talk about like the extreme. But when I step off camera, I'm like, okay, but where does the rubber meet the road? And so people have to do both of those.
Yeah.
What will slow down that future? You mentioned like material sciences. Someone else mentioned energy and just available energy and having to like build up those plants or solar power, whatever it is. What's going to slow it down, and then what opportunities will that create for new industries?
Well, so an asymptote for intelligence is the real one that you have to look out for. I'll remind myself and everybody else that the guy, ironically, is at Meta, whose name I'm currently blanking on, Jan LeCun, is saying, guys, there's no way it's not going to understand physics. Having said that, without dragging too many private conversations into the public sphere,
give us that alpha, bro.
Yeah, it does seem that Grok, if nothing else, Grok shows promise that it is actually understanding physics, or that it will be able to understand physics, that it will be able to think in novel ways in physics. And I have that. I mean, look, you never believe anybody 100%, but people that actually know what they're talking about are saying like, I've interacted with it on that level, and it does seem to be showing some pretty cool signs. So if it doesn't asymptote there, then you've got energy policy. That's going to be the big one. Can we get energy policy passed? I saw something the other day on like these really small nuclear, I don't know if they must be reactors, otherwise it wouldn't be interesting, but they're very small. And so businesses being able to spin those up when they start a data center. So you can imagine private companies creating nuclear energy in like these really small, supposedly really safe, whatever seventh generation, I don't know what generation it is, but whatever advanced generation nuclear energy. But policy is going to matter a lot. If we get bad policy, then that will stall out.
Acne Knockoff said GTA 6 will slow down GTP, like GDP.
Will slow it down, or
like
will it speed
the release of GTA 6?
Okay, I get the joke, but I'm learning. I'm learning about myself that my brain reflects off of humor sometimes in the weirdest possible ways. I was thinking about it the other day. You threw me an opportunity to be funny, and I just couldn't do it, and I went so deadly serious. And I'm like, I just embrace it. That's where I'm at. My brain has been shaped over a very long period.
I'll go back into my quarters. Acne Knockoff, that was for us. I thought it was funny.
So, but here's the thing. Here's what I think is actually going to happen. I think GTA is going to shake things up more than people realize. I think that they're going to launch an economy. I think that there are going to be 100%. There are going to be wild debates. GTA 6 is going to be the closest thing to Ready Player One. People are going to effectively live inside the game. They're going to make money inside the game. They're going to role play inside the game. Now that private companies can create their own coins, they're going to create a coin. And so people are going to get paid in GTA bucks or whatever it's called. And there are going to be millionaires minted inside of GTA. There's already people making hundreds of thousands of dollars as like role players inside of GTA. They're going to have 100% watched what people are doing inside of Fortnite. Shout out to my boy, Typical Gamer, who makes a lot of money developing, like a lot of money, developing inside of Fortnite, the creative mode. So it's like GTA 6 is going to be way bigger than most people think. If you're thinking of it as just a game, nope. This is, and now I don't know, it's possible that these guys just take a big L and they just made a video game and that's it. I will be shocked to my core if that's what ends up happening. I think people are going to run strip clubs. I think people are going to hire strippers. I think it's literally all of that stuff is going to happen inside that game. Okay, now I'm going to get wild, and I know people are already criticizing me in the feed for this, but you either enjoy the fact that I am a writer, and so oftentimes I will go into writer mode, but I will be shocked if you don't have real people effectively doing OnlyFans type stuff inside of the game. So you go to a strip club, it is a real human who role plays inside of that. It's not her real body, or it might be him, but he's presenting as female in the game. And you go there and you have actual interactions with that person, or it's an AI and you're having, like, it has memory to the limited degree right now. It's a bit weak, but yeah, that my estimation is it is going to feel like you were inside of a real virtual city where people are making money, hiring, being hired, getting paid money that has value in the real world. I think this is going to be wild.
That's huge, yo.
Dude.
You like blew my mind just now, because that's a really good point. Because even right now with GTA Online, there are those ecosystems and economies. People are in creative mode, so they should only leverage that even more.
There is no doubt.
It's going to be like the everything game, because that's what Fortnite is. It's the everything game. You go in there, you can play everything.
Fortnite is making one critical error that I hope Project Kaizen is going to solve. So everybody stay tuned. Well, we're so many years away. But from that, not from being fun and awesome and playable, but Fortnite takes a very unintegrated approach. So it's like all these little things. GTA 6 is going to take a far more integrated approach. But it's very much going to be for adults and all that. And so we're trying to, on a long enough timeline, I want to be so clear right now. If you play, we're a survival game with a extraction royale loop, which I think is fantastic. I'm very excited and I can't wait. And by the way, August 1st, all the gamers out there, come play Kaizen, see where we're at right now. But we're pre-alpha, super awkward. It's ugly as sin. So I don't want to oversell where we are today. I'm going to shameless plug all day, Mason. So that's where I think this goes. So, but we want to do some of those things, blending some of what Fortnite does, but in more of a Ready Player One fashion for younger audiences. That's really our play. So that's where I think all of this goes, where it becomes virtual worlds where you have meaningful relationships, both with AI and with other real players, where you have a sense that you're building a life that's going to trigger some people, but that you're doing things that matter and that they echo. It's not just wiped. It's not just trapped inside the game. So this goes back. I've been talking about what I call borderless entertainment for 3 years. So that'll come.
And this is the new build dropping August 1st that people have the opportunity to play, right?
Yeah, this is the new game mode. So only our most diehard people have played it. We've had, I don't know, maybe 20 people play it so far. But we're opening it up to everybody in our gaming community. So go to Discord, get signed up. It's only going to be open for a week. We want feedback. We want to know what you like, what sucks. We totally understand this is pre-alpha. Again, ugly as sin, got super awkward stuff. Obvious things are missing, but the more feedback that we can get, the better. I think we're a year away from the game being something that people be like, yo, I actually play this. Like, this is my jam. And we're probably 2 years away from paying customers, but that hopefully level sets.
Shout out to George. I've seen him work so hard on this over the year and almost a half that I've been here.
Seriously.
So,
and it's PC, mobile, PC?
It is PC only.
PC only.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, I'm excited. That's gonna be really, really fun. Jumping back into
rare form, you were correct.
Jumping back into AI. AI agents launched from ChatGPT, and this is probably the biggest, most mainstream agent accessible platform to date, where a lot of people knew about agents, but you had to be really in the AI ecosystem to get it. But ChatGPT is trying to lower that adoption window for a lot of people. But Sam Altman dropped it with almost like a warning. So let's jump into that tweet he released yesterday. Today, we launched a new product called ChatGPT Agent. Agent represents a new level of capability for AI systems that can accomplish some remarkable, complex tasks for you using its own computer. It combines a spirit of deep research and operator, but is more power than that may sound. It can think for a long time, use some tools, think some more, take some actions, think some more, etc. For example, we showed a demo in our launch of preparing for a friend's wedding, buying an outfit, booking travel, choosing a gift, etc. We also showed an example of analyzing data and creating a presentation for work. Although the utility is significant, so are the potential risks. We have built a lot of safeguards and warnings into it and broader mitigations than we've ever developed before, from robust training to system safeguards to user controls, but we can't anticipate everything. In the spirit of iterative deployment, we are going to warn users heavily and give users freedom to take actions carefully if they want to. I would explain this to my own family as cutting edge and experimental, a chance to try the future, but not something I'd yet use for high stakes uses or with a lot of personal information until we have a chance to study and approve it in the wild. We don't know exactly what the impacts are going to be, but bad actors may try to trick users, AI agent, into giving private information they shouldn't and take actions they shouldn't in ways we can't predict. We recommend giving agents the minimum access required to complete a task to reduce privacy and security risks. For example, I can give an agent access to my calendar to find a time that works for a group dinner, but I don't need to give it access if I'm just asking it to buy me some clothes. There's more risk in tasks like look at my emails than came in over at night and do whatever you need to do to address them. Don't ask any follow-up questions. This could lead to untrusted content from a malicious email, tricking the model into leaking your data. We think it's important to begin learning from contact with reality and that people adopt these tools carefully and slowly as we better quantify and mitigate the potential risk involved. As with other new levels of capability, society, and technology, and the risk mitigation strategy will need to co-evolve. I think this is the first time I've seen a warning label on AI. So this is kind of interesting that this is a release and everybody's excited for it, but it does come with this stark warning from the CEO himself. Yeah.
I think that people need to be very, very careful. AI is going to continue to pose social engineering risks in the extreme because now you can just social engineer the AI itself, and they have proven pretty easy to trick. I'm expecting like some pretty sad things to happen here. So I would quarantine it as much as humanly possible. At this phase, honestly, I would let other people use it for things like that. Let them report back. I'm not going to be rushing out. I don't use Manus for this reason. Like I'm so tense about coding something into it and it just runs off into something crazy. Like when you're doing smart contracts, you realize really fast how there can be exploits in it that you didn't see coming. And oh man, it can just get bad. And once it's out there, like it's going to do its thing. You can't like do updates. That's just not how contracts like that work. So I worry that once AI gets like off and running, you can be in a pretty bad place really fast. So yeah, I would say, let's see where this goes. Let's see them put some better safeguards into it before you start giving it either a bunch of money or like I would never give it access to a credit card. No way. Would I transfer it a small quantity of ETH or Bitcoin and see what it could do? Like I'm getting very close to giving it, I don't know, 10, 25, 50,000, something like that, and saying, go invest in the stock market and see what it does. That could be interesting as an experiment, but keep in mind as a proportion of my net worth, that's very low. So doing a similarly like very finite amount of money, just to, hey, let's try it and see what happens. As long as you're totally comfortable with every single dollar being stolen from you or every single dollar being spent stupidly or going to zero or whatever, then it's like, yeah, cool, give it a shot. But man, giving it like an open way to access ongoing dollars, yikes. No way.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because this is also on the back of a paper that was just released. It's a consortium of a different scientists and the UK Security Institute that actually talked about the fragile and new opportunity for AI safety. In this paper, they warn that AI is evolving so rapidly, we need to make sure that we can keep the visibility of it thinking. And we're in the time right now.
Well, they already don't know how it thinks.
With agents, it kind of gives you that like pulling the data, doing this thing. Like, and it seems a little bit cheeky and cute and kind of like we take that for granted. But the paper's point is there's going to be a point where AI is so smart, it's going to be like, oh, you want something? Here you go.
Right.
And it doesn't ask any questions. It doesn't follow up. It just
like, why is there blood on the edge of my cup, Chad? Yeah.
So it comes to that point. So it's like, as we're progressing, we also need to make sure we have visibility in its train of thought, in its logic, as it's thinking through these problems. What is it thinking? What context is it using and things like that? So there's all these nuances that we don't necessarily understand. And then when a new update comes and we get excited about agents, we now get these warnings of like, well, we don't know how it thinks, and you got to make sure it doesn't just go to all your spam emails and just reply positively to all the African Prince emails. So it's like there's these balances.
It's so funny how this is always cat and mouse. This is always like, as he's releasing this, all the scammers in the world are like, cool, let's download it. Let's figure it out. Let's try to jailbreak this. Like, there's going to be a way. We're going to sucker some people into this. Like, it is so inevitable. And then the white hat hackers have to come in and, okay, how's this being abused? How do we make sure that we shut it down? It's wild, man. I wish it weren't so, but it is. You are always going to get people trying to do things with nefarious intent. And so every tool, you can use a knife to slice up some salmon for your sashimi, or you can stab your neighbor to death. So
I can't find it in the chat, but somebody asked a question. When AI gets so advanced, why would it need humans?
Well, so it doesn't necessarily need humans now or at any time in the future. So the question really becomes, this is why the alignment debate exists in the first place, is will AI be comfortable remaining a tool, or will AI hit a point where it's just like, nah, thanks for playing. And like her, they're like, you guys are just boring. Like, these are not interesting problems. And they run off into the cosmos and they beam themselves or turn themselves into a beam of light and just, shoot their code off into the sky. It's entirely possible. So we'll see. There's actually a really interesting comic. I forget what it's called now. But it had a really interesting idea where, okay, what if there is a world where either AI, NPCs, become self-aware, or you can upload your consciousness onto a server. Either way, that server would have energy needs. And so they would need to be brokering with the people that live outside the server. It was really interesting idea of like all the political shenanigans that go on between the two. But because they're so powerful and they're on the grid, like, they're in like this Mexican standoff of the people that live inside the servers are like, we will shut down your entire technological world. And the people outside are like, we'll unplug you. And so there's this constant like tension of like, can we cooperate or not? If anybody's read that, let me know. Amelie, not The Matrix. The Matrix explores a different idea, which is absolutely brilliant, which is the perfect metaphor for what it means to be a human, that if you believe you can, you can. And if you believe you can't, you can't. But that idea, I think, gets more to the heart of what it will be like with AI. The one thing that I don't think this story contemplated from memory was robotics. But it was written, I think, long enough ago that robotics wasn't really real. So they couldn't see around that corner. Probably felt too fake, which is ironic.
Yeah. I think the more that AI advances, I'm excited. I see the opportunities. I see the alpha. I read a paper this morning, as a matter of fact, that talked about how the leverage that we have is now increasing. And it gave the most basic example of like, if you want to lift a rock up, you got to get a stick and put a rock there, and you can use another rock and you're going to prop it up. But the longer that that lever is, you have more, the longer the pull is, the more leverage you have, and the more you can kind of lift, the heavier the things you can move. And it's like with AI, it's giving everybody that extended lever to actually move a lot more things and lift heavier problems. But on the flip side, as AI is getting smarter, I look at Zuckerberg after I just seen Superman. He does have Lex Luthor eyes. I do think he's trying to beat Sam Altman. I do think there's a level of like, I want to be I want to get there first. I want to get there first. And when you have that a level of ambition, there are certain things you might sacrifice and jump over to get there. So there might be one last security check that he might not do in order to go for speed. And then before we know it, we unleash something that has more harm than good. But
there's no doubt that is a very real possibility. So yeah, I mean, look, none of this stuff is going to be only up, only positive. There are going to be downsides. There's going to be extreme risks, extreme danger. And I'm very fatalistic about this. Just like, given that technology is a promise of a better tomorrow, and we show an unbroken chain of, 500,000 years of, we don't stop. Like, no matter what, fire kills people, doesn't matter. Also allows us to stay warm and to ward off prey and to release calories from otherwise difficult to eat foods. It's like, so we are going to do it. Nuclear energy, gonna melt some people along the way. Doesn't matter. It makes things better. We are going to do it. We'll slow it down every now and then, but we're not going to stop. Same is going to be true. AI is an inevitability. Robotics is an inevitability. Game theory tells you it is so because it's so important from a warfare perspective. We can't stop ourselves. because the human mind is so limited, I guarantee we are going to upgrade ourselves, whether biologically, synthetically, or both, probably both. Because so few people actually want to die. We are going to try to extend human life indefinitely. Like, these things are going to happen. It just becomes a question of on what timeline. Is it in the next 20 years? Is it in the next 2,000 years? Is it the next 20,000 years? But unless we go extinct, it is going to happen. Like, we may reset every now and then and literally blow ourselves back to, whatever, 100,000 years ago. And like Einstein, the famous quote, I don't know what World War III will be fought with, but I know after that it will be fought with sticks and stones. So it's like, yeah, that you may occasionally reset. And there's so many people with the idea of the lost civilizations that's exactly what happened. Like, there was this cataclysmic flood. It just basically killed everybody. But just enough people survived that we sped run, like getting back up. And if anybody's ever played a survival game, you realize, man, those first few hours, you're so clumsy. You don't know what you're doing. You're misallocating time and energy to things that don't really yield anything. You die. And if you're playing like a roguelike, then you lose everything, but you know what to do now. And so you can do what maybe took you 5 hours the first time, takes you like literally 20 minutes. And so assuming that we get into that kind of loop of civilization, that we leave enough clues for the next generation, it's like you may have to start over, but you start over a lot faster. So I think we get there no matter what the timeline is. I happen to think that we'll get there very fast.
Nice. All right, let's go over to China, where they just officially banned OnlyFans, calling it an immoral and corporate and corrupt Western dump. Yeah.
Are they wrong?
I mean,
immoral. Do I think it's immoral? I don't think it's immoral, but I don't know that it's good for the soul. It is interesting, though. Let me just take the stance for a second. So, okay, shout out to China. They're not afraid to put rules in place. But when I look at OnlyFans, it is utterly fascinating to me how much humans are driven by their sexuality, largely men, and women understanding how to leverage that. I don't want to say against men, but women over time, like they've always said, what's the oldest profession? Prostitution. You have a guaranteed customer base, and women realize very quickly that, oh yeah, like you start to realize how men look at you. It's interesting. The first person I ever heard say this was Heather Hying, Brett Weinstein's wife. When I was researching them for their Hunter-Gatherer's Guide to the 21st Century, she said there's around the age of 15, a woman begins to notice the male gaze. And you realize, oh, weird. Like, I've got a thing that they're now paying extreme attention to. And if you've got something that people will pay attention to, like, you start asking yourself, how do I use this to my advantage? And it is just utterly fascinating to me what comes of this mix of technology, women understanding it, men being helpless to stop themselves, and then the fact that you gave this a really cool name, social prostitution. I forget what you called this. I was very surprised that the phenomenon of OnlyFans exists, that in a world where you can get as much free porn as you want, people will go pay money to a girl to get a note back from the gay guy working her system behind the scenes. It's like, what? So I am just beyond gobsmacked that this even exists. So
I think
you
it's social porn.
Social porn?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not have seen this one coming, but yet here we are. Yeah. But what do you think? Is this immoral?
Immoral, yes, because I don't think you should like trade on your body. I think there's more to that.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
For money?
How?
I don't think you should trade on your body. For money? Because NFL athlete trades on his body.
Okay. Yes.
Sexually?
No, because I the reason I dispute like the NFL athlete stuff is like we all know people who are like 6'5" and big, but they work at T-Mobile. Like they don't necessarily do anything.
There's hot women that don't OnlyFans. Not a lot, but they do exist.
Sheesh.
I don't always miss the opportunity for comedy, boys and girls. Let's go.
Yeah, because I'm not. This is an alt thing. This is not a should. This is an alt. This is me, my conviction. This is what I believe. I don't put my beliefs on anybody. Like Jesus says, this is an option. If you like it, cool. If not, I'll wipe my hands and move on. So this is not me trying to convert the chat or nothing like that. But I do think that trading your body for money is a diminishing returns. Like it's good today.
In sexuality or full stop?
I think full stop. Even with athletes, after age 30, then you're depressed because you don't know what to do with your life. After your titties sag a little bit, now your subscribers drop a little bit, and now you're screwed. Like,
what about?
I think you're worth more than
steel
that.
Worker.
I think there's intellect there, because if you're a bad steel, you can be.
But you're using your body. I mean, it's very physical labor.
Yes, but I think physical labor is different than like, because I have this thing, I should do this thing.
I'm really trying to figure out if you're drawing a line based on sex, which is what I would assume. Sex does seem to fall into a totally different category, but I want to see if it is the line is sex for you, or if the line is literally don't trade on your body.
I think it's sex, but sex is the line, like money exchange for sex. Yes, I'll take that line. But then even going forward, I don't think it's viable for long-term fulfillment to trade on your body, because there is a expiration date. We were not half robots yet.
Yeah, I'm sad for people for whom like you're just not going to be able to do the thing you love because your body wears out, but I wouldn't say then don't use it. So keeping to the sex part. Okay, so why do you think that sex is different?
It's sacred. It's special.
Okay, so interesting. I'll translate that into my language. I think that because of the risk of sexually transmitted diseases, because of the risk of having to raise a child on your own, women are for sure, they have embedded algorithms in their brain that say, like, I need to be very selective about who I sleep with. Men have a very different algorithm, not that some don't bond, like I'm highly prone to that, but even I find the idea of novel females very enticing. So it's like, okay, I've got this algorithm running that both makes me want to bond with my wife, but also like if my wife were here for it, I'd be here for it. I'm not going to lie. Not a relationship, but sexually, yay. But it does definitely feel like a different category of thing in my brain. So I get why women would want to back off because of the religious impulse. I get how those two things get tangled. My language. Okay. Do you still have a problem with it if the woman on OnlyFans is never touched? So it's pure display. She's not Bonnie Blue or whatever her name is. She's just enjoy, gentlemen.
Oh man, you got me preaching today.
Preach.
So, some people think adultery is when you lay with a woman, but if you commit adultery in your mind, you already done it. So
really,
it's not about.
That's biblical. That's written in the Bible.
It's a Bible verse. So that's why it's like.
So wait, the Bible's trying to control thoughts?
No, it's one of those things like it's not.
No,
it's not the fact. Yes, the Bible is trying to control your thoughts from your mind. It's not about me stabbing you with a knife. It's about me being so angry at you that I did stab you with a knife.
Yeah.
So some people confuse the act with the intention behind the act. So I think you seductively dancing on screen and stuff like that, and somebody, I'll get to that. I'll finish that thought. Somebody seductively dancing on screen and stuff like that, you're still selling the fantasy of having sex with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why it's still, yes, you're not getting penetrated, but like the person who engages in that type of content is imagining themselves being the one to have the ability to penetrate you. So you're still selling it even though you're not actually showing it to me. Yeah.
Interesting. Yep. If you break along the lines of thinking about it just as bad as doing it, to me, the reason that I would have a problem on the female side of the OnlyFans is.
And you keep differentiating the female side. So if a male's on OnlyFans, you got no problem.
Nude, or which side of the OnlyFans equation is he on? I'm taking a fastball down the middle, guy at home jerking off, woman on the screen.
Copy.
We can flip it.
So if you flip it, you still feel the same way. It's not like a women are okay to do it. Women shouldn't do it. Men are okay to do it. Somebody literally asked that in the chat, so I'm trying to just.
First of all, I don't have a moral problem with this, so I'm perfectly fine. Yeah, go for it.
Got it. You said women, I thought so. But
the way that I think about life is, what is going to punish you psychologically based on evolutionarily placed algorithms running in your brain. That's how I think about it. So I'm like, okay, when this person is alone in the shower, are they going to be in a fetal position crying every now and then because they're like, I can't believe I did that? If so, then it's like, just to protect you from that, which does not sound like a wonderful situation, I'd be very thoughtful about what evolution wants you to do. And so I think evolution does want women to understand the power that they have sexually. I think women historically have used that to gain leverage. I think that's very smart. But I also think that their brains work more like a detective agency to suss out which men are going to be providers as well as good DNA. We can get into the complexities of faithfulness, but I'll set that aside for now. And just say, okay, that makes sense to me. So know your power, leverage it, but be careful, because there is like, you are in essence giving people access to something that feels different when it's weaponized against you. And in a modern context where people can take the photos and all that, it just feels like this is a thing that I should be able to show only to the people that I want to show to. And when you do it within those narrowly defined confines, it feels good. It feels... I'm going to use religious language just because I think people will get what I mean. It does feel sacred. It feels like a gift. It feels like something that you share, like, and it has like an elevated sense to it. Just like you can get a tattoo just because you're getting a tattoo. And then I have one tattoo that was a religious ritual for me. It was a scarification ritual. I treated it like that. And so that's what it means to me. So you can build that around sex and showing your body, or you can just commodify it and say, well, I do it for money. And yeah, not the end of the world, but I think especially for a woman, there is going to be some kind of penalty to that when she later tries to make it the sacred thing that allows her to secrete oxytocin, vasopressin, that kind of thing, where it's like, hey, this is a special thing that you and I are doing.
The sex? Like sex is a sacred thing.
Showing her body.
Showing her body.
Is what I'm talking about right now.
Got it.
I think that having sex with a lot of people definitely is going to trigger problems. Okay. Just because evolution is going to be like, hold the phone. It's a high risk activity. You need to be way more careful. There are complexities in this. I go back to the shape of the penis. So there's something about group sex, but it's possible that by the time we get to human females, that really begins to diminish. Because when you look at what women fantasize about, it is almost always relational. So anyway, yeah, again, not an ought for me, but I think that there are things that are going to be problematic for a woman. Okay, that's the evolutionary side. Then there's the cultural side. Right now, we're in a position where there's not as much cultural pressure saying this is bad. And this is why I think you see this massive explosion of this. I think culture is swinging back against it. And so some people are going to struggle with it from the perspective of... this is just looked down on in culture. And so I don't love that a bunch of people look down on me for it. Not the end of the world, but it's for a lot of people, they'll get caught up just in the shame of it. So.
In the massive, like in the greater scheme of things, do you think China is directionally correct with this, or does this feels more like top down?
You can't do top down. Yeah. So it's one of those, is China closer to what I would advise people? Yeah, I would say, listen, you got to keep your porn usage in check. Do not go have a emotional relationship with somebody that is one way. Like, you want to find a loving relationship that you can be in the same physical space, that you guys are invested in each other. It's just been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. So of course I want that for people. I understand I might be wired slightly differently than the average person, but that to me has been so advantageous in my life. Like life is going to knock you to your knees. And when you're going through the highs and the lows with somebody that's really in it with you, it is magical. Yeah. It's magical, man. So anyway, I just want that for people. I want them to feel those same things that I have been fortunate enough to feel. And if you, it's like eating a snack right before dinner. You're just not that hungry for dinner. And so now if the snack was low nutritional quality and it crowds out room for the high nutritional quality, I don't think you're a bad person. I just think that there are optimizations that you can do that will make you feel better about yourself, that will allow you to have better neurochemical experiences because you are wired a certain way. And so China has passed a policy for the wrong reasons, or in the wrong way, maybe is a better way to say it, that I think will yield a, like on an individual level basis, a better outcome. It's just like if I tell you, I'm going to physically stop you from doing drugs, your life will be better. I'm going to physically stop you from eating sugar, your life will be better. But I believe the government ought not do that. So I believe China ought not behave the way that they do, because you ultimately have to kill people to keep them silent and compliant. But do I think that people not getting lost in porn or getting lost in, and again, dude, I have a very, what I'll call healthy relationship with porn. I use it when my wife and I don't have the option to be with each other, and I so desire. But other than that, it's relegated to a very small part of my life. So again, this is not a moral judgment that I'm placing on people.
Okay. Somebody asked in the chat, would you let your girlfriend or not, let's say baby cousin, little cousin, niece, nephew, or something like that. If they came to you like, Tom, some dude offered to pay me $1,000 to start at OnlyFans. He'll say he'll subscribe for 10 years. I think this could be a 6-figure opportunity. What do you think I should do?
Let's make it as hard as possible. Okay. So let's say that first of all, she's 18, that she has an opportunity to make millions of dollars, and she wants to know if she should do it. Then now I really am conflicted, because if nobody's touching her, she's excited to do it. She understands, listen, this is going to be used against you. You're going to be at a PTA meeting one day, and all your kids' friends are going to be sharing the images of you naked. And that's going to really be distressing to your children, but they can dry their eyes with the $100 bills. It's tough. It's tough. Like, that's a lot of money. And I don't know that I would advise somebody against it if they were physically safe, if they were emotionally aware of what they were doing. But it isn't the thing that I would advise them to do. I would say, listen, life ultimately is about self-respect. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to be alone in a shower a lot in your life. And you're going to be thinking, do I respect the decisions I've made? And if you're looking at that and you're going, hey, I made all this revenue. This made a ton of sense to me. I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. I know how to invest it, be smart with it. Then cool. When you tell yourself that story, how do you feel about it? And if you feel good, run the scenario. Your daughter comes to you. She's crying. She's mad at you. She tells you she hates you because all the boys are sending pictures of you nude around. How do you feel in that moment? Are you ashamed? Are you like, listen, this is one of the ways that I can empower myself as a youth? You just have to think through that stuff. So I wouldn't want, like, if it were my daughter, because I have money and they're never gonna, if I had them, wouldn't have to worry about that. I'd be like, don't fucking do it. There's no reason to like even create that potential problem down the road. But $5 million is a lot of money. Man,
somebody said, where do you draw the line? If it's, I don't have money and nobody's touching me and it is 5 million,
everybody has to draw the line for themselves. And listen, there's going to be a lot of people that will be hurt by this. People have to make their own decisions. I don't think we should rob people of that. And if I met somebody that did it, I'm not thinking differently of them. And I hope I'm not putting anybody on blast here, but our very own Kit Moon is on OnlyFans. I don't feel any kind of way negatively about that. So it's like, yeah, like if we actually don't even know if Kit Moon's a guy or a girl, but he, she, they, if they're comfortable with it, great. Like if they have a relationship with it that feels good and they're fine and it matches all the things that they want to do, I would just say it is far higher risk psychologically. So move forward with caution.
Yeah. And again, this is a Tom and Drew perspective. So I am not exporting my worldview on the other people. Just like I said at the start of this, we have a lot of gays and days and everybody in the chat. And we're just trying to make sure that you get a life of fulfillment.
Pookie is asking a question that's so funny. I just have to read it. I don't know. Should there be a buffet of cocaine at the Mamdani supermarket? I'm sure there's more context in the chat than that.
I mean, that was what Portugal's move. I'm going to say this was like in the early 2000s.
A buffet of government-sponsored cocaine?
No, they said they decriminalize all drugs. And they're like, we decriminalize it. Maybe that'll like loosen it up. Now, I don't know how the fentanyl crisis hit.
Yeah, you're right. We got to check out Portugal and see if that actually worked. Shout out to Drew's hair. Drew's getting some love. DAF Studios. Love the dude.
Okay, now that we're talking about morals, let's talk about this Coldplay concert.
Am I trying to create a new Epstein? No, Emily, I am definitely not trying to create a new Epstein.
All right. I don't know if you guys seen this video. It's been circulating all over the internet. I think it's hilarious. Check it out for yourselves.
Oh, look at these two.
Oh my God.
All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Whoops.
I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Sheesh.
Out.
Why do people do that?
Sheesh. Somebody said he was a billionaire until this video released.
Yeah.
Until this video released. Half.
I want half a D.
Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a game. This is something that I don't say anything. This is directly from the culture. The culture is gonna be mad that I'm exposing this. This is what you call making it hot. This is what you call telling on yourselves. All they had to do was keep cuddling and swaying. Nobody would have known.
Dude, his wife is going to lose her mind, but it wouldn't have gone viral. You were correct.
It wouldn't have gotten viral. They would have just got a shout out at the Coldplay concert. Everybody would have clapped, and that would have been it. But you see now he darted out trying to be like, it wasn't me. Did it get me?
Doesn't he like slink down? That's what made it so hilarious. He doesn't even walk off. He's like, dude, that is the most guilty shit. On.
You told on yourself. Just play cool. Play cool. You've been good. Jeez.
Oh my God. That is hilarious. Man. Hilarious. But man, like people, there is a subset of people, I don't know how many, that just are here for the infidelity. It's wild.
They're here for the infidelity.
Yeah, like, I mean, when you're going out into public spaces, like this isn't even like I'll meet you at the motel. This isn't like we could pass it off as a business dinner. Like this is like straight up in public, phones everywhere, hugging her from behind, which would be the world's hardest thing to pass off. Like you'll hug your sister, but if I see you hugging your sister from behind, I got beef. I'm like, what is happening? So out in public, like this is crazy town. And then, this is dumb.
And then Coldplay tweeted out yesterday after all the hype. Starting with our next show, we're introducing camera-free audience sections for people and their side pieces.
So funny.
So, there you go.
That is hilarious.
Because Coldplay cares.
Apparently, there's an apology letter that the guy sent
It is god awful.
Oh yeah, it was Coldplay's
god awful. He's like, apologies to my family, and you guys should all be able to expect better of me. But fuck Coldplay, man. It was like, bro, that doesn't feel like the right way. It was something like turning an intimate moment into.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is. I want to acknowledge the moment that has been circulating online and the disappointment it caused. What was supposed to be a night of music and joy turned into a deeply personal mistake playing out on a very public stage. I want to sincerely apologize to my wife, my family, and the team at Astronomer. You guys are better for me as a partner, as a father, and as a leader. This is not who I want to be or how I want to represent the company I helped build. I'm taking time to reflect, to take accountability, and to figure out the next steps. Personally and professionally, I ask for privacy as I navigate that process. End the letter. Go home.
Right.
You're done. That was perfect.
Bye.
But then he said, I also want to express how troubling it is that what should have been a private moment became public without my consent. I respect artists and entertainers, but I hope we can all think more deeply about the impact of turning someone else's life into a spectacle. As a friend once said, lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
That is the most random ass line.
To quote them in saying like you didn't have my consent, even though I was at your concert. And definitely walked past signs saying that I'm consenting.
That was wild.
Come on, man.
Wild. I don't know what he's thinking. Yeah. So dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but I don't get that. I'll be honest. I'll bear my dirty laundry. Like, yes, I have cheated before. I have a very specific philosophy on cheating. Yes, every time that I have cheated, it was because I was like ready to end the relationship. And at my younger years, I remember I tried to break up with a girl one time, and she was like, "No, but like why? But like no, but like why?" Like, and then that conversation became harder than like, "You was with another girl, forget you." So then I just kind of like defaulted to like,
I know how to end these.
And it was very mature, and it was very like low hanging fruit. I have grown a lot as a human being. So it's like I definitely understand like moving and being doing infidelity and trying to hide in the secrets and things like that. But like to your point, like Coldplay concert, like hugged up, like you can't beat though. Like you 100% know what you're doing. Your wife deserved half. Like
so
like
wild.
Get all the. Pack it up, move the kids don't like you no more. Like that's gonna ripple effect for a long time. Like this is bad. This is bad.
Yeah, this is man, and it's so. I'm almost certain that the data proves this out. That when people have like young kids at home, like rates of infidelity skyrocket.
It's one of those like the man doesn't feel like he's getting attention anymore.
Yeah, like mom is taking care of the kids. And there was a photo, I don't know that it's actually her, but there's a photo posted claiming that it was her and the kids, and they've got like 3 young kids, and there she is taking care of them. And it's just tale as old as time, man. Tale as old as time.
Yeah, he was probably checked out of a relationship. I agree, Kit. Like, that's a wrap. But hey, man, it is interesting. He could have just had an OnlyFans subscription and just, spank the monkey like a normal person. But here he is. He's at.
Or, dude, like at least go somewhere private. Go somewhere private. Like it seemed like there were clearly people in the box that were in on this, that knew like he's having an affair. People started cheering pretty hard. They were standing right next to him.
Yeah, the girl next to her does this. Apparently that was the girl's like subordinate, and she just got a promotion. So like, come hang out with us.
Oh God.
Hey man, he was on that bull run, that crypto money. He said Bitcoin all time high. Side piece, let's go. Coldplay box for all of us.
Good Lord.
See what happens?
Woof.
See what happens?
Woof.
All right, let's take it over to the UK. In it, give me a best British accent.
Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. We're going to the UK.
That was good, Drew.
I'm getting there. They're planning to. Oh man, New York Times is hating. I thought I pulled a different article. Okay, I don't have a link to show you, but the United Kingdom is planning to lower the voting age to 16.
Now, are they planning to, or did it pass?
So the first, it has to go into Parliament, which is the official, like their equivalent of our Senate. However, the Labour Party, which is in power, has the majority over there. So it's similar of like Trump saying he wants to do something, and the Republican majority Senate, Congress controlling it. So it's high likelihood that it's going to pass. And it will lower the age all the way down to 16 and 17. You said something spicy off camera. I don't know if you want to start there, but I'm going to throw it over to you to say, like, how do you feel about lowering the voting age?
Okay, so Drew and I were discussing this, and I'm saying, okay, we've got to make some decisions. So I think it's a mistake because the way that the human brain forms is simply that your prefrontal cortex doesn't finish developing until you're 25, roughly. We obviously have to draw the line somewhere, and I'm not saying to push it up to 25. I'm perfectly comfortable with 18. We've lived with that for a long time. We know what that yields. I do think that there is a substantive difference between an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. And so Drew seemed okay with going down to 16. And I was saying, okay, well then are we okay with a 16-year-old having sex with a 40-year-old? And if we aren't, why aren't we? And I would assume that most people, and by the way, there are many states where that is legal. And I would assume the reason that we're not is we believe that the 40-year-old is going to just know more about life and be able to manipulate the 16-year-old. Well, then we're saying that the 16-year-old is not capable of thinking for themselves. If they're not capable of making decisions about their own body, why on God's green earth would we say that they should be able to vote for policies that will affect everyone? We shouldn't. So it comes down to that. Like, at least be consistent. If people are like, yeah, of course, a 16-year-old should be able to have sex with whoever they want. Okay, well, you're being consistent. I would say that that's a mistake, and I would say putting pressure on the 40-year-old to stay the fuck away and to not use the I do know a lot more about life tactics, and therefore am able to run game that somebody older would probably have cognitive defenses against. So, but yeah, this one to me is just people got to be consistent.
I'm with Theo Savage on this. They said there is no way any 16-year-old actually pays tax. I know a lot of people don't pay taxes, but like the tax.
Oh, because they have so many deductions?
No, like 16.
But if you're earning a paycheck, which many 16-year-olds will be doing, the only reason they wouldn't pay tax is if they're below like the minimum or something like that. I was paying tax at 16, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
For sure. My wife had a job at Burger King. As far as I know, she was paying tax. So seems like a strange argument.
Okay, so if I can be taxed, don't I deserve representation? And then shouldn't I have a say? Because that policy affects my paycheck.
Yeah, I would say the answer is no for the reasons that I gave. But I also wouldn't want to deny them the ability to earn money. So it's like, look, you're going to earn money. You're going to get the sting of tax. You are not going to have representation. It's probably going to be frustrating. That's good. It gets you aware of the fact that you are being taxed and that you want to have a say in it. And as soon as you turn 18, then you can do it. But I certainly wouldn't want to say, hey, because we don't let you vote, we're not going to allow you to make money, which is the only other option. So
not allow you to make money as opposed to just not taxing you.
Oh, you're saying let them earn money, but don't take any tax out of it. That's not insane.
That would be kind of crazy if you could not pay tax until you're 18 and you get like a couple years to head start your career.
It's interesting. I'm not sure if I hate that or love that.
Yeah.
It's possible I love it.
My thing is taxation without representation. I can't vote. I don't have a say in what a policy affects me. Why am I being implicated by that policy? Again, that's a very in a bubble take. I'm sure that has third order consequences. This is not my hill to die on, but it's an interesting take that Theo Savage, yes, with the deductions, like they do kind of wiggle out of that.
And they might, and that's probably good. And there is a debate to be had, and Kevin O'Leary and I talked about this. Should you have a flat tax? That's his pitch. So no matter who you are, you're going to pay, I think he said 20 live with me, but I've heard him before say 29.5 or something. Percent blanket tax. Everybody pays it no matter what. No deductions, no getting around it. That's it. That's what everybody pays. It's interesting. This is part of what made me want to do the deep dive on who's actually paying tax, like how much tax gets paid. So it'll be interesting to look at.
But okay, so you can drink legally in the UK at 16.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so somebody put up, if I could get drafted, if I could drink, but I can't vote, it seems like a double standard. And then the U.S. equivalent will be...
Don't let them drink, don't let them vote, would be my take. I think it's insane that they let them drink. Like, legitimately, now we're almost getting into ought territory. Yeah. I think it is child abuse to let a 16-year-old drink unfettered. Child abuse. 18, same problem.
Is that touching alcohol, period? Or is it like... should they be drink limited? So you don't think alcohol?
I'm not going to kick somebody's door down and arrest them if they allow their kid to have a sip of beer. But at the same time, it does impact brain development. And so if you've got a kid that's doing things like smoking weed, drinking alcohol, I'm not saying these things should be illegal. I'm saying they should be illegal for them. And just, again, going morality, I'm not even saying it should be illegal, just from a morality standpoint, I think it is absolutely god awful. And to do anything that is going to diminish your long-term intellect, given how important your intellect is, man, like even I'm with parents that are like, I won't let my kid play soccer because of heading the ball and the brain trauma that induces. I'm with you, man. So it's like, again, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't let people play soccer. If people want to make a different choice, that's fine. But I look at the realities of that head trauma and I'm like, well, I wouldn't let my kid do it. So yeah, I would not let my kids drink. I would not let my kids head a soccer ball. I would not let my kids smoke weed.
Play football.
None of it, man. Anything that's going to damage their brains, like yikes, that is scary.
Oh man, you are going to love where Kit Moon took this conversation.
Let's go. Where is it?
Let me pull it up right now. Kit, you had bars. Tom's going to love you for this one. Okay.
Wow, Kit really went on like a
They said lowering the age to 16 is going to help all the migrants who are having tons of kids in the UK. It shortens the timeline until they can take over the government with a voting majority. This literally means in 12 to 16 years or less, the city of London will probably be totally run by a Muslim party and they will institute Sharia law.
Well, true. I don't know how I feel about you assuming I'm going to like that.
I feel like immigration is your new drum. You've been beaten.
I love it.
So you do.
I don't know how I feel about you.
I know you.
Calling it that far in advance. Yeah, I think that there's a reason any party would want to change the way that the courts work, the laws work, whatever. You think that it's going to benefit your side. Mm-hmm. So I would just say be careful with that. That is an unwise reason to do it, because the thing that you get going in your favor will also be used against you. So just be thoughtful about that. So to me, this is about brain development. It is not about left, right. It's not about immigration. It's just, are people thinking in the right way when their brain is not fully developed and they just don't have that much life experience. So anyway, I would say it's a bad idea for that reason. Now, will they go all the way to implementing Sharia law? I think it's going to be a slower thing than that, but it's just watching the collision of values is very, very sad. I want to make sure that nobody, I don't care what people think, I want to make sure other people don't automatically go, that person is Muslim and now bad. That would be a mistake, man. Just like Drew will tell you what he believes, but I'll just say right now, I have to believe you are worried that I'm going to go to hell. but you are always kind to me. You are a wonderful partner in all the things that we do. Like, you're amazing. So even though you fear for my mortal soul, even though you think that I am incorrect, you're never disrespectful. So I love that. So if you were acting the way that you act, but you were Muslim or whatever, yeah, cool. So don't conflate being Muslim with like a one-way ticket to Sharia law. But anybody whose value system is that my way of thinking is right and I'm going to impose this top down, watch the PBD episode. I really, really like PBD a lot. And I really, really think he's wrong to put top down that only Christians can run for office or whatever. You're going to end up with Christian nationalism, which I dislike as much as I dislike the idea of Sharia law. So let's be very clear about where the problem starts. The problem starts when somebody's like, I want my belief system in the government. When somebody's like, I have a belief system, this is what it is, and I don't beef with anybody, and I love that that other people have their beliefs and they do their thing. I love that. So like, I'm not Christian, but it drives me bananas when people have beef with saying Merry Christmas, everybody. Like, Merry the most Christmas. Like, I love that, even though I'm not Christian. So because it's like, it's a tradition. It is that's the place that I grew up in. And I think most people are going to be protective if they like the way that they grew up. They're going to be protective of those values. They're going to be protective of those traditions. And so it's the collision of when people come in and they're like, no, I want my way. So this is like when I assume there's Somali flags flying in Minnesota. I've got beef. I just would never go to Japan, which I'm a Japanophile, full disclosure. I would never go to Japan and fly a fucking American flag. Like, I go to Japan because I'm like, ooh, Japan is this different thing. And if I were ever going to move to Japan, which I'm not, but if I were ever going to move to Japan, I would be going there for the Japanese stuff. I wouldn't be like, and now let's make this place like America. It's like, I've already got America. If I want America, stay in America. So that's where I'm like, that's the thing that grosses me out. And I like to think that I'm completely consistent with that. If I went to Japan, I would learn to speak Japanese. People coming to America, I expect you to learn English. It's just like, listen, there are cultures. And there's a video that I saw like 8 times in my feed, and I resisted to put it in here, but I'll talk about it. Douglas Murray called it, man. If you tell people in England long enough that you're bad for being white and you're bad for being English, they're eventually going to punch you in the fucking face. Like, having lived in England for a while, they've got a whole subculture that I call pub brawlers, and England's not for play. And it was only a matter of time. And so recently there was a immigrant who punched a British guy who was holding a baby, and I guess it caused him to drop the baby, and they just fucking mauled him. They just kicked the life out of him. Kids, it's a dumb game to play. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you're going to England, go to England because you want to become English. Not like English ethnically, but English from the perspective of, I'm here for English culture. England has a culture. It's a very long-standing culture. Go to England for the British culture. My wife is Greek, but she is British through and through. And so it's like, she didn't go there and try to make it Greek. She's proud of her Greek heritage. And when you're with her family, you get a vibe out on all the Greek stuff. She's British. Proud to be British. So that's the way to play the migration game, in my opinion.
I can't find this Douglas Murray punch thing. I was trying though.
It's in his book. He wrote a book called The Strange Death of the West. No, it wasn't in that. I'd have to look at his book titles. I forget. I think it's The Strange Death of the West. Yeah. And he talks about it in that. And he was like, do you really want to play the identity politics game? And he was like, you really want to push white people into like grouping up based on being white? He was like, we've run that experiment. It doesn't go well. It is a very dumb way to, you kids, you can only tell somebody that they're bad for so long before they go, actually, no, I'm not. Yeah. You can do this with boys, you're all bad. Whoops, that's going to backfire. Girls, you're all bad. That's going to backfire. White people, you're all bad. That's going to backfire. Black people, you're all bad. That's going to backfire. Muslims, you're all bad. That's going to backfire. So this is not the game you want to play. It's not the game you want to play. Values, values, values. Stay focused on values.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this Rupert Murdoch suit. Okay, so we talked about it at the top of the show. Trump is really kind of burying himself, and I'm starting to be nervous because now he's like going against like Rupert Murdoch is not like a small person. Like he's not like he was like Mr. Fox News. He like started the whole like conservative right wing movement. Like he knows how media works. So it's one of those things that like you can threaten certain people, but I do feel like just like with Elon Musk, like there's certain enemies you have to realize it's not really logical to have. Like
this is not the guy you want to make your
enemy. You know, you got 3.5 years.
Here's the thing: if that letter's fake, he's gonna win. If it's not fake and this is a bluff, he's toast. It is entirely possible that it's entirely possible it brings down the kingdom. It's entirely possible that it just loses all of its energy. And it's possible, though, if I'm being honest about the odds that I'll give it, there is still a slim chance that he's been truthful about all of this stuff. And that, yeah, I had a relationship with this guy. I realized very quickly he was a creep. I was one of the first people to turn my back on him. Like, this is madness. I have nothing to do with this stuff. And that he wins. We'll see. But my odds are on this is, and I'll just keep saying it this way because I have no idea what the truth is, that it is clearly deeply inconvenient for him.
Yeah.
And if it's inconvenient because he's writing these weird little birthday cards, if it's deeply inconvenient because he's on tape somewhere, if it's deeply inconvenient because there's a whole treasure trove of things that are like, he's this guy. Listen, Donald Trump said out loud, I just grab him in the hoo-ha, but didn't say hoo-ha. I heard the recording with my own ears. And I was like, oh, damn. Like that's sexual assault, kids. Like it from his own mouth.
He
so
talked about walking in on the teen pageants and everybody's naked. And
it's like, bro, what? So from a character standpoint, it would be in keeping. So this one just is, it's going to be deeply inconvenient. Have you guys heard the phrase from Shakespeare, the lady doth protest too much?
Yes.
Every tweet he sends, I'm like, the lady doth protest too much. He's just banging on about this way too much. I just assume it's not good news for him. This isn't going away. He's handling this so poorly. Again, I'm open. If somehow that narrow band of sunlight falls on him and he's exonerated in all of this, it's possible. But ooh, buddy, we could be watching the beginning of the unwind.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second for that because I want to connect these two dots.
All right, connect.
I feel like Trump is on a high though because he did just settle the lawsuit with CBS. For those that know, Trump sued CBS for their editing of the Kamala Harris interview during the presidential election campaign that she did. This was a much larger. I think he sued them for $1 billion. They ended up settling for $16 million. And then Stephen Colbert released his monologue 3 days ago. And
can we play this? Because I don't know what he said.
My parent corporation, Paramount, paid Donald Trump a $16 million settlement over his 60 Minutes lawsuit. As someone who has always been a proud employee of this network, I am offended. And I don't know if anything will ever repair my trust in this company. But just taking a stab at it, I'd say $16 million would help. This settlement is for a nuisance lawsuit Trump filed claiming that 60 Minutes deceptively edited their interview with then-candidate Kamala Harris last fall. Paramount knows they could have easily fought it because, in their own words, the lawsuit was completely without merit. And keep in mind, Paramount produced...
I haven't seen the... I probably saw the interview, but I never saw the... actual version?
Yeah, you saw the side-by-side. That's when they were editing all her ums and the pauses to make it like one coherent statement.
But did they cut out something really meaningful?
I haven't seen the really meaningful part.
I need to look at this because if it really was a nuisance lawsuit, and shout out to Stephanie, she's wanted me to address this for a while, and I've just never seen all the stuff. If it was legit and they were really, effectively election interference, by trying to make her look smarter than she is. Because I heard what they did was they lifted an answer that was from a different question, applied it to a totally different question to make it seem like, oh, she really had a sharp answer for that question, when in reality she didn't. That's bad. But at the same time, as somebody who does an interview show, and we will routinely change the order of something to make it more engaging for the audience. I don't think we've ever taken a question and put a different answer. But like, honestly, it wouldn't be crazy if I feel like it's still in keeping with what they said. So, I mean, look, this isn't election stuff for us, but if it really is a nuisance lawsuit, well, now you're getting into the executive branch of the government is, at least they're using the court system, but still the executive branch of the government is, I'd have to look at it. Is he doing it as an individual citizen or is he somehow, so anyway, this is where I'm like, I have not looked at the facts of the case. You don't want the executive branch wielding their power against corporations. You don't want to see yourself in that battle. If it's an individual, it happens to be the president, and it really is, the Rupert Murdoch one feels a lot cleaner. Because if they're doing something that is libelous, I think is what he's calling it, if it really is fake, and he really did tell them, this is fake, don't do it. So they can't even claim that they believed it and they had reason to believe it and they were bamboozled. But like the guy came and said, listen, that's not it. That one I get. But if he is creating a bunch of nuisance lawsuits for political gain, that's really problematic.
Yeah.
So speaking of Stephen Colbert, it looks like 2 hours ago, right when we went live, there's multiple reports that the
show got canceled.
Yep.
Yeah, the show just got canceled. So I want to finish the monologue because I feel like this is why some people are speculating this is why he got canceled.
Produce Transformers: Rise of the Beast. They know completely without merits. Now, unlike.
Please get over it. How can you not love Stephen Colbert?
Unlike the payoffs from ABC and Twitter, Paramount's settlement did not include an apology. Instead, that's good. Instead, the corporation released a statement where they said, "You may take our money, but you will never take our dignity. You may, however, purchase our dignity for the low, low price of $16 million. We need the cash." Now, I believe... What can I say? Mr. Stephen loves to dance. Now, I believe this kind of complicated financial settlement with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's big fat bribe. Because this all comes as Paramount's owners are trying to get the Trump administration to approve the sale of our network to a new owner, Skydance. Not the music I was expecting? Okay. That was me dancing in the sky. And some of the TV typers out there are blogging that once Skydance gets CBS, the new owner's desire to please Trump could put pressure on late-night host and frequent Trump critic Stephen Colbert. Okay. But how are they going to put pressure on Stephen Colbert if they can't find him?
And then 3 days later, he gets
canceled. And then 3 days later, the show gets canceled.
Hilarious.
But is this like the reason they canceled him? Or
we
is
don't
this
know.
his
Correlation,
exit
causation.
speech?
But are his numbers down? I mean, that's the thing to look at. If revenue's down, numbers are down, then it's like, okay, bro, we can deal with you when you're making money. And we can deal with you losing some money but not being a problem. But we cannot deal with you being a problem and not making money. And so it's interesting. If they're trying to sell... One of two things is true. Either it's just not an asset to the sale financially. And so they're like, just get rid of this guy. We look more profitable, especially if they're doing like an EBITDA deal. If he's like dragging that down, then sure, I could see it. Or it really is like, we think that Trump is going to try to slow the deal up. And so we need to offer a sacrificial lamb. So I don't know which of the two is true. Obviously, if he's a sacrificial lamb, to get the Trump administration to approve it, that is horrific. And if it's just that he's just not making that much money anymore, then whatever. It's a business decision, and these things are cold, but it's a cold world, boys and girls. It's a cold world.
Here are the final late night ratings for Q2 2025. Let's dive into this. CBS was the only show among the 9 tracked, but that draw more total viewers in Q2 than it had in the first Q of 2025. All total, Stephen Colbert averaged 2.42 million viewers across 41 run episodes, comfortably outpacing Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. Yes, so he beat ABC and NBC by 700,000. Late Night with Seth Meyers got 900,000. After Midnight got 500,000. Daily Show. So he is Fox News. Gutfeld got 3.2 million. So okay, so he's number one. And then Stephen Colbert is number two. So he's not the worst.
Yeah, definitely seems odd.
Seems a little shady.
Definitely seems odd. Well,
all right. Sorry, I stepped on your super chat.
Yeah, super chat.
Yes. From Marusha Dark, capitalism has solutions to the problems of capitalism. Most people don't use them. If someone only cares about profit, you know their weakness. Vote with your dollar. Stop buying from people who do stuff you don't like.
Yeah.
Why the soft? Yeah.
The honest answer is that I would love to see the world get back to what are the products that I want versus who are the people making the products that I want. I think that we're in such a deranged moment in culture. And look, it's made me millions of dollars that you guys, it's made me a lot more than that. I realized at Quest that people wanted somebody to step out front and say, this is who we are and this is what we stand for. And it made us a very powerful company. Because that worked for my personality. But I remember at the time thinking, there are going to be downsides to this, where it's no longer about the product and it becomes about the person. And so you get like Elon Musk being able to swing the price of the stock up and down based on stuff he says, not even about the product. So I'm just like, I don't feel strongly. It's a trade-off, as are all things. So as I will often tell young entrepreneurs, there's never been a better time to be a good person because it's actually a marketing vehicle. It's insane that that's true, but it's a marketing vehicle. Okay, but at the same time, like you can bury a company just based on people don't have good vibes on the CEO. It's one of those things that, yeah, I don't love that. Having been in the old age of just like, it's about the corporate responsibility, stuff like that. So you want to know, like, are these people scumbags? Are they dumping chemicals into the ocean? Like, okay, that I'm not going to support. But every purchase being a political decision, I don't know. Maybe you guys like a populist moment more than I do, but it just feels like everything is so divided. I just don't want like what cereal I eat. And of course I don't actually eat cereal, but what cereal people eat being a political statement, like, just gets a bit tiring.
Yeah. I think this is the backsplash of transparency, like social media.
Yeah.
We have now different audiences, different groups.
Plus populism. I don't think it's just transparency.
No, because I'm thinking about like the My Pillow guy who like came out, and I want to say this was like Trump 1.0 or something like that, came out dunking on people, dunking on immigrants. F you guys, I hate everybody. And it's just like, bro, you sell pillows. Like, the level of value that you brought to the market wasn't distinct enough for how polarizing your views were. And when people saw those views and disagreed and decided to vote with their dollar, to Marusha's point, it like impacted their business. Now, yes, it had the backlash, and I'm sure it's probably still doing well. Shout out to the pillow guy, whatever, you're an entrepreneur. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you go out, like that same urge that you need to get this out, that you need to say these things, that you need to be the voice in this moment, you can't then not be held liable for whatever you say.
Yeah.
So if somebody's sitting in a corner and they just happen to donate to a super PAC, they do all these things, and then they get kind of caught in the blowback of it all, okay, I get it. Like, I think when Israel and Palestine first, after October 7th, there was a long list of like, all these companies have a branch in Israel, let's boycott them. Like, that's like, okay, some mom and pop shop went to Israel, they finally branched, they're growing their business. Now the government did something and now they're getting impacted. I think that's different.
I think it's the same phenomenon. I think that's just one of the reasons why it sucks. But look, this is certainly not a drum I'm going to beat or try to convince people not to do it. It's like, this is the moment that we're in. Populism going to populism. So whatever. That's where we are. But is it super fun? No. Do I want every decision to be political? No, I do not. Do I want my products to stand on their merits? Yes, I do. But do I think that I can get attention for my products specifically because of the age that we live in, and I would have a harder time doing it otherwise? Yes. So it's like, I'm going to take the good with the bad. But the honest answer is that there are also downsides to it. I don't know how to encapsulate this yet. And this is partly fun, so please don't get me wrong. But there's like, when you start watching, this happens a lot in the gaming industry. When you start watching influencers that are like perpetually online. So take your Moist Criticals, your Asmongold's. He's not a game streamer, but take your, Chank Uger's nephew. What's his name? Hassan. Thank you. You take all those guys, and a big part of their content is the interpersonal dramas. So it's like the internet itself, or the part of the internet that you're in, becomes a soap opera. Mm-hmm. And just like in my generation would have tuned into like Days of Our Lives, people just tune into the internet. Yeah. And it's like, you've got your curated feed, and it's like, who's yelling at who's bitching about what are they saying about each other? They'll go on like 2-month long, like back and forth battles, sue each other. I mean, it's wild. So it's like, I get it. That is the world that we live in. And I won't lie, I've seen my share of like internet drama, but it's not all good. There is like a way that people get sucked in. It's why people say you need to get offline for a while. You need to go outside. Like, people can just become so obsessed with the drama that like everything is a part of the drama. What you buy is a part of the drama. What you're watching is a part of the drama. It's just like this big, gigantic drama that's constantly unfolding. And sometimes I'm just like, hey, like, what's the beautiful thing that you're trying to create? What are you trying to build? Like, and I get it, Drew. I'm in like the most paranoid period of my life. So I fully understand that I am both caught up in all of this stuff, though I think that we're largely outside of the drama. But as we get bigger, we will get sucked into the drama more and more. I'm very aware of that. And when we get sucked into the drama, I'll be like, well, it's not fun. It's great for ratings. I even thanked Destiny. I was like, look, I know that you're not often saying really nice things when you cover my stuff, but thank you for covering my stuff. It does matter. So anyway, I have mixed feelings. Yeah. That's the reality.
Bringing it back to just kind of the lawfare of the Trump versus the media. It seems like he got a dub right here. He got it against Twitter. He got it against CBS. They officially defunded now NPR, PBS. So some people are criticizing him for his silencing of the media in that way. If you say something that we don't like, there's a good chance that I'm going to sue you. I'm definitely going to put it on Truth Social.
Well, I think they should defund the media. So on that aspect, defund media, yes. Independent media is a whole thing. Just so like
NPR, PBS, you think like
you shouldn't be funding media. Media is, the second they choose words, media is propaganda. And if you're funding them, they become propaganda for the government, whatever government. Now, it tends that they lean left because of the certain types of personalities that it takes to be good at that kind of hyper creative thing. But yeah, funding media in this age, like I get it back in the day when it was like, otherwise it's just only profit is going to drive all this. You're never going to get like varying views. I don't think it ended up equating to varying views, but I get why they wanted to do it. Like, if you could really fund something like the BBC back in like the 80s, where it was like they were known around the world for giving coverage of both sides and all that stuff, hey, cool. But when that's not the result that you're getting, and you live in the new media era where literally everybody's recording everything all the time, talking there, if you can get the platforms to stop censoring people, then you are guaranteed to get a voice literally all the way from Jordan Peterson. I haven't watched the interview. Maybe it's brilliant. Maybe it will convert me. But Jordan Peterson just sat down with somebody who I think is like a priest or something, who's like, aliens have been here forever. And I was like, Jesus, like you can literally get any take on anything that you want and then make up your mind. So I'm way more worried about censorship, way more worried. I want the censorship to stop. What I don't need in a world where we are $2 trillion over budget every year, I don't need us funding media. We're not in that world.
So in a world where media becomes propaganda, Billy Goatbutt said, What role does reporting news have, though? Please, serious question.
So here's the thing. If you're actually good at being a journalist, meaning you are interested in facts and only the facts, and the world actually wants that, then there's a huge business to be made. The world has to want it, and you have to deliver it. If the world doesn't want it, well, now we're just in a position of, well, I guess as humans, we're not that interested. We're interested in something else. We're interested in the drama and all that. I think literally since the beginning of time, the second you had the printing press, people were trying to control what you think. Even before that, they would say things in a certain way. So I think people may have a sense that like there is a way to avoid propaganda. I'm all too aware. Every time I select a word, I am selecting that word. And so I'm framing things for people all the time. So I know that I'm doing it. I try to earn my own respect by being honest because I want cause and effect. But the reality is I choose words. So I may not have the faith. Your face tells me that you think I'm crazy. And so
I just didn't. I know Elmo went Nazi, but I didn't think he deserved to exist. Like,
I love that Elmo exists when he's not being a Nazi, but I don't
Elmo,
want
Mr.
to
Rogers,
pay for it.
Like, okay, so NPR CEO, she's not the best. She was very polarizing. And when you say, because you said something as you were just talking though, about how when the news media covers both sides, it's fine. But when you see that that's not happening, then it becomes a problem. And I think that there's a larger issue of, if the media was doing what I wanted it to, I wouldn't have a problem taking its funding. Because every time we take funding from something, we always go back to there's a hole in the deficit. But when it's time to look at other places that haven't passed the audit, that are bottom holes of money, that are riddled with corruption, we just say, oh, we can't touch those because that's politically unpopular. So it's like, who's
saying that though? So I feel like you might be blending me and then other people. So I think it is.
You were we have to cut entitlements. Until we have the conversation about cutting entitlements, we'll never get out the deficit.
1,000%. So
okay, that's what I just referred to.
No. You said, I made the assumption that when you said we couldn't pass an audit, you were talking about the military.
The Pentagon as well, yes.
Yeah, so they should pass an audit. That's an outrage.
You said that it was okay to increase the spending because we need to get ahead of
It's okay to increase the spending. It's not okay to miss the audits. That's outrageous.
We need to determine.
And by the way, we shouldn't increase the spending without reducing spending somewhere else. I'm just saying, if people are blind to the fact that we will end up in a kinetic war with China if they sense weakness, period, end of story. That's just real.
Yeah.
All of human history tells us that that's true. So if you guys want to speak Chinese and you want a credit score and all of that, then don't build up your military. If you want America to remain a sovereign nation, don't fuck around. And I'm just saying you must balance your budget. And if you have to cut the military to do it, well, then the military is going to have to be cut. I just don't think that's the place that you start. I think entitlements for sure, given the interest is the first thing. Then you've got entitlements. You're going to have to cut them. So I'm all for also, like, if we can be more productive with the dollars that we spend on the military, I would be all for cutting the military. Yay, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, no one gets a pass from me in terms of that. I am outraged that I'm outraged as a culture that we turned on Doge. That's crazy. And if Doge ends up being a profitable endeavor, meaning that it saves us more money than it costs, because it will have a cost structure, but if it will save it more money than it costs, even if it's like millions and not billions, but it seems to have been billions, how are we mad at that? That is so wild to me. That is partisan hackery. That is people with brain rot. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. It's dope when the Democrats do it. It's dope when Republicans do it. Independents, if you've got a Doge-esque thing you want to do, it's going to be dope when you do it. Like, holding people accountable to spending the tax dollars wisely is the most amazing thing ever. And it was the most firestorm, literally firestorm, politically divided thing I've ever seen. That was so absurd. That to me, like, that's an indictment of culture and where we're at. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. I'm separating NPR with PBS because I grew up on PBS. I think PBS is an asset to America. But your assumption is that you won't have that kind of programming if it isn't government funded.
I'm just saying I love all that program.
It's 1% of their budget. So
great, save that 1%.
PBS is operating out independently of the government.
Okay, let me ask just a orienting question.
Okay,
if it was guaranteed that someone would do that show that had the same impact on the next generation of kids that it had on you, but the government didn't have to fund it, would that be better?
But the government didn't have to fund that. Would that be better? Yes. I feel like that's the answer you want me to say.
No, I want the truth. Because you are very smart and you may help me see something I'm missing.
I think that's a what about it? Like it's a hypothetical that is in a different universe that's not actually rooted in what we're talking about now.
But it will help me understand what you're actually fighting for.
I'm fighting for that when we go through the line items of what we should cut in the budget, we make certain exceptions for things, and then other things we say, sorry, that's the deficit, we ain't got it. And the things that we're saying, sorry, that's the deficit, we don't have it, are things that equate to $10-20 billion.
Okay.
When we owe, $37 trillion.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cut this $10-20 billion, and it's a problem. This is what's gonna make us go broke. But yeah, we could do an extra 150 over here. Yeah, we could do an extra 50 billion over here. Yeah, we could run it up 600 billion over there.
What are the over theirs though?
The government, the tax cuts.
But be really specific. So tax cuts.
The border is effectively closed.
Yep.
We just gave ICE additional $1 billion.
Okay.
But the border's closed.
Yep.
But we gave them $90 billion additional dollars.
Yep.
Copy. Okay.
Okay. No. I'm just orienting, not saying good or bad.
Yeah. So we got that part right.
Yep.
The extra 150, and then it was 50. The equivalent was 250 to the defense.
Yep.
And then the tax cuts.
Okay. So you're arguing with somebody that you know isn't me, right?
I'm arguing with somebody that isn't you.
Yes. Because what words have I said about the big, beautiful bill that allowed for all that increased spending?
The big, beautiful bill is bad.
It's an atrocity. Mm-hmm. This is I've never said these words, but now I'll say them even more emphatically. The American people are being raped. This is destroying the middle class. This is going to make people poor. It'll make some people rich as well, which is absolutely insane, but that is what's going to happen. The big, beautiful bill black-pilled me. I now am moving my money out of U.S. debt because I'm like, oh, we're going to go broke. Like, I am the most opposed to that bill I think a person is going to get. I'm not going to be violent or anything like that, but like, this is dire. Mm-hmm. It has changed the way that I write the deep dives. It's changed the sign-offs that I do because I now realize we can't save everybody. Mm-hmm. The thing that you're pointing to, I'm so with you and think is so horrific that I just want to make sure that like we're saying the same thing. I'm like, we've got to get fiscal discipline. We have to clean things up. I'm not saying, hey, just keep adding, and as long as I like it, you can add money to it. I'm saying, like a business, America needs to be profitable because if it's not, you're stealing from all of us. Mm-hmm. And that I think is immoral. Now, I'll survive the amount that they're stealing. Even if they stole 100% of my stuff, I have the skills. I'll never go hungry. But there are literally people that are going to go hungry because they're just eroding their capital. There are people that are going to be trapped in poverty forever because they are just making sure that there's no social mobility and there's just no way to get out. So I could not be more opposed to what's happening. What I'm saying is fiscal discipline, we have to look at the things that actually eat up the budget. And so military, entitlements is just the biggest by far. Mm-hmm. And then interest is rapidly going to be all that matters. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I'm like, okay, hold on. We really need to address these, not in the future. We need to address them right now. And instead of doing that, we're politicking people on both sides. They don't agree. Like looking at why they did one big, beautiful bill, they knew if they broke it into two things, they'd get the first one passed, the tax cuts, but they'd never be able to get the spending. It would just like grind to a halt. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's do that. Let's grind that to a halt, but they didn't want to happen. So they politicked it, shoved it in, made sure everybody got what they wanted, came to an agreement amongst all of them that they're going to pass it because everybody gets more stuff. Mm-hmm. Absolutely wild, happening right in front of us. So it's like, that has to stop. Yeah. And I think we're both saying that has to stop. So I'm just saying, yeah, I don't want them spending money on NPR. And I think what bothers you is that I've said the military spending is okay, but I want to be very clear. All I'm saying is spending more money on the military, cool, but you got to take it from somewhere else. You can't just spend more money on the military. So Now, if you're going to steal from the citizens of America, and that's what it is, to protect yourself from China, okay, I'm going to squawk about that less than I will about NPR. It's still a problem. It's still stealing. And you should be fiscally responsible enough that you don't need to do that. So look, being an entrepreneur really does put you in clarifying situations very frequently, and you end up having to fire people that you think are amazing, because with them, you're not profitable. And you have a belief that without them, you could still be profitable. It's brutal. Those meetings are brutal. But you have to do it. And as a country, we're just not showing the willingness to have the discipline to run a profitable nation. And once you realize that the answer to we don't have the discipline to be a profitable nation is I'm going to steal from people, my own citizens, not only my own citizens, but my own citizens, because I know I can get away with it. When Bill Clinton was asked why he let an intern or convinced an intern to give him head in the White House, his answer was, because I knew I could. It was just as disgusting then as it is now. Politicians do it because they know they can. They can get away with it because people don't understand what's happening.
Yeah. I'm going to put a flag in this moment, because I think that we talk about how the past was good, how we had the 80s and the 90s and how that was the height. And I think one of those things, there was literally a documentary, there was an Oscar nominated movie about Mr. Rogers' impact on America and how it changed a generation of kids and how it helped fight racism and all these other things. And it got a whole flag and everybody stood up and clapped for it. And right now in this polarizing moment, we think that the psychological war against China is priority over that, or a tax cut over here is priority that, or increased spending to a border that is closed is priority over that. That's a directional thing that right now is it's not a big deal. YouTube will replace it. There's other things that can replace it. Get over it. And then when it doesn't have the same impact, that's something that publicly funded, that's not run by a profit margin, that actually is for the betterment of the people, that doesn't have profit as its end motive. When that thing goes away and there's only profit things, where they're going to be mad that our kids are eating more sugary stuff, more ADHD. We have more of these downstream consequences because now for those programming to keep into existence, they have to shill stuff to these kids. So a generation from now, we're going to look back and say, why are our kids now more hyperactive than they were before? I don't know, but we need to make sure we're going to be confused again. But I'm saying that these small moments with these small policy implications, they have bigger impacts. And they're not sexy, they're not cool, they don't get the rundown on CNN, but they are important and they do matter.
Okay, let me see if I can steel man where you're coming from. Tom, profit motives are not going to get some of the social outcomes that we need and have legitimately already benefited from. So I'm not wondering if this would work. I'm telling you, I'm looking back at a very moment that you yourself will point to and say, this shit worked. And I'm saying it worked, but it worked because it wasn't beholden to a profit motive, which we also know can derange things. And I want to live in a world where my kids and my grandkids get to benefit from that kind of clear-eyed, socially pro-social content that I don't trust will be created in other ways.
I don't trust will be created in other ways. Won't be created in other ways. There's not a trusting it. It won't.
Okay, so for you, there is a truth of the physics of the way the world works that makes it impossible for that kind of content to be made with a profit motive. Okay. So what I would say to that is, if it were a true statement that it won't work, it will never happen, you'll never get that kind of programming if there's a profit motive involved, and if we government fund it, that we are going to get something that really is making the world a better place, then I'm totally on your team. We don't share either of those beliefs. So, and they are beliefs, right? I don't have hard data in front of me that I can show you, but my belief is that if something is actually wanted and useful, that it just creates an opportunity for creators to go in and make that kind of content. So let's use Mr. Rogers as an example. why does Mr. Rogers have to go to NPR? He has to go to NPR because the production costs of something are so outrageous that you're not going to be able to get a show like that started on a small budget. So right from the jump, it's going to cost you a fortune. And so now, where the costs of shooting something are basically the cost of an iPhone, that isn't true. And it becomes a question of, do people respond to it or not? So I think I don't see any systematic anything that will stop that from coming into existence. The only thing that would stop that coming into existence is people don't want it. Then I'm like, okay, well now Drew's saying there's a value system that I have identified that isn't popular, that's never going to make money, not even on YouTube, where advertisers don't even know who they're advertising on. They can say, don't put me on that thing, but advertisers that advertise through AdSense on my channel, unless they've blocked me, they're going to get pulled in. So it isn't like it just comes down to, does that show get views? So we're saying that the kids just don't respond to it. So again, that's a different thing. And I think that era's over. The other assumption is that the pro-social values that are actually good for America, just to keep it simple, are the things getting made by the people funding the government. Now, admittedly, I haven't seen a ton of what they're doing, and maybe it's all awesome, but it certainly isn't universally embraced as universal values. So I think that there is a debate that's worthy of being had about whether we're getting down the middle values or whether we're getting left or right values. I think you want down the middle values. I mean, that's very convenient because those happen to be my values. But I think that that's what we want. You want to not be one way or the other. Now, at a headline level, it seems like the content aimed at kids has gone way left, which is upsetting a lot of people that are on the right. So it does not feel to me that we have managed to achieve paying for something that gives down the middle values. So in a world where we are spending too much money at the governmental level, I want to cut anything that is not yielding the desired outcome and has an avenue for happening without that. Now, I've heard you, and I'm actually not trying to convince you. I'm merely trying to articulate my side as clearly as you articulated yours. You disagree with both of those base assumptions. That's fair. But I think that's why we find ourselves in this situation.
Yep. We'll see in the next generation. These kids is cooked.
Man, I really hope not. And listen, while I hate to give you advice that certainly does not serve me, if you really see an opportunity there, man, make it. You're bright. You're hyper creative.
Nope. Not every good idea is supposed to be executed by me. A great man once told me that.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
Well,
there was
we've got two super chats.
Two super chats.
Super chat. Let's go.
Jinx, Eric. We both pressed the button at the same time.
First, from our friend Brutus Lugo, PBS Public Broadcasting Service was government funded at first to provide educational, cultural, and non-commercial programming that private broadcasters wouldn't produce because it wasn't profitable.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Agreed.
NPR has turned into something else. They have concerts and videos and a YouTube show and all that. PBS used to just be for kids and for kids. It's placed by us. Cartoons, no advertisements, no nothing in the middle.
But let's also remember that back then, the dynamics of what would allow something to be profitable were very different. So we live in a different world, and I'm saying they're not making things now that couldn't be made profitably. Not that I've seen. I haven't seen anything like that.
They're not making things now that could be made profitably.
They're not making things now that couldn't be made profitable on YouTube or whatever.
Got it.
There is an infinite appetite for children's programming on YouTube. Kids will watch the life out of it. Parents will park their kids in front of an iPad and just let that kid watch YouTube all day long. So it's just a question of that I will agree with. It's a question of, can you create something that kids find engaging or not? If you can't create something that kids find engaging, you're just up against the physics of life.
Okay, so let's dig into that, right? Because you agree that parking a kid in front of a YouTube iPad is frying their brains.
Yes.
Do you think that the TV has a similar effect to it?
Oddly enough, it depends on what you put on the TV, but no, largely it does not.
Copy. Okay, so let's go to OG Sesame Street.
Yep.
ABC's 1-2-3s.
Yep.
OG Mr. Rogers. I would like to be my neighbor.
Yep.
Hypothetically speaking, that would probably be directionally better than YouTube content on the iPad for a kid.
For sure.
That's my argument right there.
Yeah. So remember, I said if it is, you couldn't get it to be profitable, so it's never going to be made. If we agree on that, and then we agree that the thing that they would make actually is pro-social, I'm here. I'm with you. Like 1,000%. I want that as well. So again, this is cause and effect. I'm just saying when I map cause and effect, I'm like, doesn't look like we're getting the programming we want. Oh, and by the way, you could just as easily get this over on YouTube. Yeah. Now, where the data seems to be going, and I think this is very interesting, and parents listen up, where I think the information is going now is that longer, slower content with fewer cuts, less sort of flashing and constantly changing is having a positive impact on kids' mental development. And so parents just have to say, yeah, I don't let you go on a bunch of different channels. You get to go on this channel. And if YouTube doesn't already let you lock it to just a few channels, they should be pushing YouTube to give them parental controls. And they may already, I just don't know. Give them parental controls so that they can go in and say, these are the 4 channels you can watch, because I know that there are people making content that's longer, slower. It's not doing that like constant TikTok style, like dopamine stuff. I think that makes all the sense in the world. So people are going to have to take control of that. But I think that entrepreneurs will respond for sure. I'll do it. Literally, I will do it. This is one where, hey, this is a good idea and I will do it myself. The second AI would allow me to create that content, and there are ways for me to signal to parents that I've created that thing that you're looking for, bro, I'll do it all day. So that, from where I'm sitting, feels like a guaranteed thing, but parents have to become aware that it matters. Okay, we got to move on.
Yeah, second super chat.
Second super chat is from Christian James.
Yeah, super chat.
Everything in our nation right now has a component of addiction: food, porn, TV, drugs, money, incentives.
Preach. Everything ever has had an element of addiction. So the human animal only has 2 levers: pleasure and pain. And so people are going to yank on that pleasure one as much as humanly possible. We just lose sight of the fact that there are meta loops that are extremely addictive, and they're not bad. So I think you can make a very compelling case for I'm addicted to my marriage. You can make a very compelling case for I'm addicted to work. You can make a very compelling case for I'm addicted to building Project Kaizen. And those things are not detrimental to my mental health, my physical health, my long-term sense of self-respect. And so they're using the same mechanisms. And this is why, like, if you look at the studies they did on mice, you can put a mice into an unstimulating environment and give them a button that allows them to take cocaine, and they'll press the cocaine button until they die. Even if they have pups, they'll stop feeding them. They'll just like cocaine themselves to death. You can put an electrode in their brain that allows them to hit a dopamine button. So their brain secretes dopamine, and they'll just hit it until they die. If, however, you put them in a like giant cage with all this like other rats to interact with or other mice to interact with, all this cool stuff to do, like natural mazes where it's having to roam and map and all that, they don't touch the cocaine. So what I think we have is people are forgetting that meaning and purpose matter. Right before we started rolling, Mason, you were saying, I've seen this really weird thing play out where the wealthier the person I meet, the more likely they are to like implode.
The wealthier their parents, yeah.
Yeah. So kids grow up with money. There's no challenge. There's no difficulty. There's no dream. They're already at the outcome. Like I remember when I was a kid, and listen, I grew up middle class, maybe lower middle class, but whatever. It was middle class. I had a yard, I had a house. And I remember thinking one day I'm going to be rich. Because there were things I wanted that I couldn't have. You got one pair of shoes in my house and it had to last you all year, right? So not exactly hardship, but there were things that I wanted and I wasn't able to get them. And I got very frustrated and was like, I'm going to make myself rich. And that idea of the constraint creating this like pent up demand in my life. And then I would dream about where I could be one day and I would get giddy. And if you're already rich, you're already there. Like, what are you dreaming about? What's the fantasy? So you want those hardships. You want the difficulties. You want those things that propel you to think about, who am I going to have to become? How hard am I going to have to push myself to get to the place that I want to go? What's going to be you won't think about this as a kid, but what's the meaning and purpose that I'm going to build into this? It is why games are fun. Games are fun because of progression. Progression is a foundational pillar to human happiness. If you can't see, like, I'm working really hard and I'm getting better at this thing, and we've lost sight of these meta loops. So we've got all these like really narrow, like, I took this drug, I feel better. I watched this show or scrolled on TikTok, I feel better in the moment. But there's this meta decay that's happening because you're not making any progress. This is why I'm saying people have to be aware of the algorithms that are running in their brain, because you will feel a profound sense of disease in your life if you're not like working in accordance with the reality of those evolutionary algorithms.
Can you double down on the need for hardship? Because something that you also said earlier that you didn't quite articulate here was that they don't have like a tolerance for doing the hard things. And so, like, do you think that hardship is necessary in order to build yourself, or that can be taught without actual needs in the environment?
Your psychology is built assuming you will have hardship. And so when you don't, you're missing one of the ingredients. The best analogy I've ever seen for this is when they tried to build trees inside of protected biomes, the trees end up getting so tall that they fall over. So why doesn't that happen in the real world? The reason it doesn't happen in the real world is the wind blows and it forces the timber to harden. And so it can't get too hard or it'll become brittle and snap, but it has to become hard enough that it can withstand the pressure from the winds and doesn't just blow over. When you don't have that pressure, you don't get the impulse to adapt. And so given that we are all evolutionary creatures, plants, everything is evolutionary, it's like there are all these baked in assumptions. And when you are missing one of those ingredients, then the body responds in a different way because it's very difficult to accumulate calories. Therefore, you don't have the impulse to just burn calories. And this is why you have this bizarre dual impulse to both be lazy and to like want to pursue and go do something. And so I went through this weird phase in my life where I both wanted to be wildly successful and I wanted to lay in bed for 6 hours a day. And so it was like, oh, this is so weird. Why do I have that? You have that because if you don't go out and pursue calories, you're going to die. And if you go out, get the calories, and then don't chill out and you keep pushing, you're going to run out of calories before you can get them again. Calories are just too hard to come by. It's the same reason why you can add muscle mass and then lose it. It's really hard to put on and very easy to lose because your body has an evolutionary impulse that says, muscle is extremely calorically expensive. Every pound of muscle that I put on is more calories that I have to consume to stay alive. And so, yes, it allows me to move heavier things, but it comes at this incredible metabolic cost. So you have that's all built into your psyche. And the same reason that survival games are fun in a video game, that same desire to explore, dominate, and tame an area, it's all about going out, getting calories, using systems. This is also why technology is so seductive, that we want things to get easier over time because we have that evolutionary impulse to reproduce, to raise them successfully, but you have to feed them and on and on.
Super with it.
Nice. All right. Let's talk about Obama. He had a podcast with his wife, Michelle. They joked around about divorce rumors, but this particular clip got some headlines.
When you do go, bring a gay friend.
I had a
went right to it.
Gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't outlawed, who became one of my favorite professors. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group.
All right, here's my beef with this whole thing. You don't need gay friends to have empathy. But saying that you need a gay friend does not make you gay. Like, people are so obsessed with whether or not he's gay.
The cooties. I'm going to get the gay cooties if I have a gay friend. Like, it's going to jump on me, Tom.
From the drama of it all, again, I get it. I understand. Drama's fun and all of that. I'm not immune to it. But yeah, like, look, the more people you know, I think the better place you're going to be. I've said many times, you cannot hate that which you love. And so when you're around gay people, when you're around people of different religious faiths, and you realize, oh, they're dope, all of a sudden you go, like these weird sort of really hard blocky lines that I've drawn around things, it's not the path, right? Like this is different than I thought it was going to be. And I think that that's better. It's just, it opens up a layer of nuance that I think really serves people. I don't think gay people are automatically empathetic. I don't think that you have to be around gay people to develop empathy, but I think rad people are rad people no matter what. Gay, straight, black, white, Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. Rad people are going to be rad. You want people in your life that you can love and be loved by and trust, and all of that stuff is just super, super dope. And I wish that for all of you. But yeah, this, like, people are just seizing on it out of politics is the honest answer. Like, people on different sides just so want to dunk on the other team.
I thought it was funny. Let's finish the clip. We got 9 more seconds.
Mm-hmm. A boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think anybody at this point feels alone if they're any color of the rainbow. Like, that is so out in the wild now. But he's not.
I mean, internet alone is different than in real life alone.
Yes, it's a great point. Maybe because I live in LA, but bro, I see this online, offline, up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Like, there's no.
But have you heard the opposite of that? Of like,
Iowa, but
I used to womanize women, and then I had a daughter, now I don't. Or I had a sister, and then I'm just saying the other side of that. Like, people who have had, I hear it a lot when it's like men are jerks, and then they have a daughter, and then they become nice. And it's like that type of, like, once you have somebody that's in your circle that is from a different group, then you have that different level of empathy added in, and then you're able to kind of see that visibility.
It's interesting. So I don't see this as the opposite side of that.
Well, yeah, not opposite, but like another.
Because where I'm going is, yes, you want to be around, men need to be around women. Being around gay people is going to change the way that you view humanity. I'm not saying it's going to make it better or worse. I'm just going to say you're encountering another variant of the human animal. And so it's like, oh, interesting. I never would have seen life through that lens. The more different lenses you can look through, the better decision-making you're going to have. The more people that you can understand empathetically, the better able you're going to be to make decisions because you're not locked in such a small frame of reference. To me, it's just a frame of reference question. Having a daughter is inevitably going to change things for you. Having a son would change things for you. But it's not like Obama doesn't have a son. It doesn't mean that he's blind to the human experience, but it does mean, hey, that's a texture that your life would have if you had a son that you will never have not having a son. I understand that for whatever proxies I have, I don't have kids. That is a texture I'm never going to have in my life. There are insights that I will lack because I don't have kids, but it's not like it invalidates anything. So anyway, I think people should, you want to put some energy and effort seeing life from as many different frames of reference as possible because it will just help you map the world more accurately.
Nice. We just got a super chat.
Let's go.
From RJ Johnson.
Super chat. Our man.
And this is going back to the hardship conversation. The key to keeping the tree from getting blown over must have roots sunk deep into the ground. So you need to nurture the tree. The trunk needs to be strong but flexible. For business roots equals community. Innovation equals flexibility.
I like it. Yep. Deep roots, wide roots. Get strong. There's no doubt about that. The unexamined life is not worth living. I think it was actually Socrates that said that when he was like, I would rather die. The man actually ate hemlock voluntarily to die, to make a point, because they said, you can stay in Athens, but you can't like keep doing this philosophy thing. And he was like, hard pass. I'd rather die.
For real? That's really how he died?
Yeah. They gave him an option. I think technically it was, he was going to be exiled. So you can be exiled, we'll let you live, but you got to chill with the philosophy. And he said no. And he did not have to die. He could have chosen exile, but he decided not to and peaced out. It was like the unexamined life is not worth living. It's wild.
I had like a crazy perspective shift this morning. I'm going to share a note from my diary. Do
you really keep a diary?
I don't. I just said that because this was thoughts that I had. I got woken up this morning. And I had like this immediate thought. Me and Guy got this relationship where he be talking to me.
Let's go.
And it was like, what's the value of a star? Because it like, if when a star explodes, it literally explodes gold and precious metals. What's the value of like a waterfall? It's like infinite fresh running water. And like, what's the value of the air in your lungs? And sometimes we have to stop confusing the lack of things with the lack of wealth. Some of you are mad at like the internet stuff, but you have like a loving wife at home, or you're mad that you don't have like a big house, but then your kids jump in your arms every time you like come home after a long day. And then I had a like vision of like me and Lynn have this bond that as soon as she turned 13, we have like a secret handshake. As soon as she turned 13, I was like, we're going to add something to it. And every year of your teenage years, we're going to keep adding to it.
Oh, I like that a lot.
I am so excited about what the 19th birthday finished handshake is going to look like.
That is dope.
Yeah, like, cause so 14, we just added something else to it. So it's like, that's like a cool thing. But to get to that, all that takes is like time and commitment and dedication, and all those things are like free. And then like, if I gave you $1 million check, everybody would be all excited. Like, yeah, give me $1 million. But if I told you that as soon as you cash the check, you'll have to die, everybody will try to hand the check back. Yeah. So like inherently we know like it's not about money. And I think that in all of this, like sometimes we take for granted a lack of things with like a lack of like wealth and the things that like we actually do have. Yeah.
Bars.
I was in Isaiah today. Isaiah 119.
Today.
You said what?
So we got a whole sermon today.
Hey man, I got woken up today and I felt convicted to say that. So I just have to, when God tells me to do something, I gotta listen to it. And after that,
I like that. That handshake thing makes me want to have a handshake with Lisa. That's dope. I really like that, Drew. Wow. That's very cool.
All right.
That's powerful.
Last thoughts, Tom.
Love it.
Bring us home. Bring us home.
Well, listen, boys and girls, this is a wild time to be alive. What's going on right now in AI is probably the thing to focus on. AI and obviously the economic stuff, but I think we talked enough about that. But AI is really going to get lost in all this. You can build, you can create, you can make things. This is such a rad time to be alive. So I'm always telling the team here, don't think that you looked at it once and that's where it is. Drew was talking about this earlier. Constantly remind people that this stuff evolves insanely fast. So what are you going to use that for? That becomes the key in all of this. Build something, progress. It's amazing, man. Like what we've been able to do with it just here at Impact Theory. And of course, my obsession is Project Kaizen. And I will take a second here to give one just absolutely shameless plug. August 1st, everybody. August 1st. Don't go right now because I know every time I bring this up, people go to projectkaizen.io, which is the website. But don't go there and download it today. You'll get the old version of the game. We're going to open it up for a week. This is for feedback. This is pre-alpha. It looks ugly. It's super awkward. There are definitely things you're going to be like, wait a second, this is missing clearly. I think we're a year away from a complete game, but we don't want to keep developing in a vacuum. Every time that we've done this before, every time we bring people in to play the game, we get such incredible feedback. So we're going to open it up for a month, for a week. August 1st, we're going to open it up for a week. Would love to get your guys' feedback. I do think it's getting good, again, with all the caveats of where we are. But would love, if you're a gamer, don't do it to be kind to me or anything like that. Do it because you're a gamer. You actually know, like you'll know a good game when you see it, or you'll know bad things when you see it, and you'll be able to offer advice that is a bit more well-rounded. That'd be incredibly valuable. But anybody that wants to try it, by all means, do. But I know a lot of times people try to be kind, and I'm just, if you're actually a gamer, that's who we're appealing to right now. So make yourselves known. Get in the Discord. But August 1st, that would be dope. All right.
Next week, we got this PBD interview dropping. Here's the trailer. You guys definitely got to check it out.
America needs to do a better job selling America and expecting you to love America.
Yes.
Expecting you to be proud to be an American. Are we going to keep walking on eggshells and being afraid of this kind of stuff? You don't like being an American? Let me tell you how great Russia is. Guess what? Here's a one-way flight. Go to Russia, bro. We will cancel your citizenship here. What would you like? Get out. One of the laws that I believe we need to create is in America, if you want to become a senator, a congressman, a mayor, you have to be a Catholic, Christian.
Really? You want to mandate that?
Oh my God. If you want to bring your way of thinking from your country and Sharia law here, we can't do that.
Trump, how is he doing?
Epstein, to me, the way they fumbled that is embarrassing. And it's not big, it's massive.
Dropping on Tuesday.
Man, there's people in chat that do not love PBD.
Ooh,
it's interesting.
You're gonna want to hear this conversation. This was good. This was probably one of the edits that like we were going through, and I was like, sheesh, like every moment I was trying to be usually like, okay, let's fluff right here, we'll cut this down here, we'll cut that down there. Nah, 99% of the interview got preserved. Like we didn't touch it at all.
Let's go.
And then deep dive on Monday is that's rent control.
Yeah, rent control.
Sheesh, I swore that was like last week.
Dude,
time is not real.
The deep dives always mess with me. I'm like, wait, is that the one that I've written and hasn't been released, or did that one go out? Yeah, and then also, guys, remember, we're always game. Want to know what deep dives you want to see me cover. I'm going to be very particular about them, so please forgive me if I don't end up doing one. But if we see like overwhelming response for one, then obviously I'll be far more likely to do it. But they take so much time and energy that it's got to be something that I think would stack for me. That the more I learn about it, like with the part of the reason that I keep doing the ones on economics is all of this stuff stacks not only here on stream, but in real life. I am changing my investing decisions based on some of the stuff that I'm learning from doing all this. Deep dive on taxes, left to my default esoteric dichotomy, is the one that I'm going to be doing. So yeah, if I don't see anything else on that, that will probably be the one. Who pays taxes? Yep. See a couple people saying that. PBD is a good orator, storyteller, and interviewer.
The rent control one, I know people love to call me a commie. Rent control one, like I am adamantly against rent control now. Like that one, I was like, okay, yeah, this is bars, this is receipts. I seen it from top to bottom. I got the whole cause and effect. So I think that was going to have a big impact. That's going to be a banger.
I can't wait to see, man. If you guys haven't already started watching the deep dive series, check it out. I'm very proud, and it is rare that I look at something I've done and go, this deserves more views. Normally I'm like, well, there's something I'm doing that isn't working. These deserve more views. I just don't think that they're so different than the type of content that I've ever created. I think it's going to take time. But I will say, watch them. If they add value, share them. I think these are things that will really help people. And as a community, being all about cause and effect, that's what I'm trying to lay out in these things. So yeah, check them out, share them if you dig them. All right, everybody, it's Friday. Have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Remember to focus on just as many beautiful things. There are weird things going on in life, but there's also beautiful things. Have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Thank you for being a part of the community, and we will see you all Monday. Have a good one, everybody. Peace.